Welcome to BALLBUSTERS Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a Superchat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, before I introduce all of the BALLBUSTERS themselves, to giving a quick shout out. Don't know how well this is probably going to go. Now I'm going to forego it due to my frog in my throat and just introduce the BALLBUSTERS. Shout out to everyone who supports me on Patreon. The willing is there, the voice isn't. So we are joined by Quantum Eraser. Hello.
Hello, sir.
We are also joined by Sleeping Warrior. Hello.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Knowledge Scavenger / Bible Literalist / Paula. How you doing, Paula?
Slash it. I'll just change my name to Slash. How's that?
Yeah, YouTuber Bible Literalist. Let's get it right.
Hello.
Very good to have you. And last but by no means least, we've got Betty. How you doing, Betty?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Have I missed anybody off the call? Because I can't actually see it. Is that it? Have I introduced everybody?
You got everyone.
Okay. So, exciting times, because in 15 minutes, we're going to go live for the first time on the Quantum Eraser channel, which should be exciting. You're not probably going to hear a great deal from me, because I'm really ill, but hopefully everything will still run as it should and smoothly. We shall see. I've had lots and lots of technical issues today, although I'm smiling. My heart's dead. Anyway, so Anthony, you had some questions that I said to hold back until this particular moment.
Well, I've not been on a BALLBUSTERS show for months because I've been busy. And I'm just wondering, am I meant to be here? And if I am, what are we doing? Because I just got an incoming Skype call, happened to be sat here, and all of a sudden we're about to go live. And I'm like, what are we doing?
No, you're not. Get out.
Oh, okay, then. I'm going home. I'm being bullied.
No. You're fine. This is going to be a discussion today on the Big Bang. We're going to revisit this again. It's a little bit of low-hanging fruit, but there's nothing wrong with beating up a little low-hanging fruit.
Who's the low-hanging fruit? Or is it a subject matter that's low-hanging fruit?
The subject matter is low-hanging.
Okay. Big Bang.
Shout out to Brenda Von Assen for low-hanging fruit.
Don't repeat her name again on one of my shows.
Let's get that out of the way, because we're not live yet, so because we're in the pre-show, we might as well get this stuff dealt with, right? So, Anthony, what's going on with the Sleeping Warrior channel, and what's the happy news over there? I'm sure everything's wonderful, right?
So my latest 4-minute video, 3-minute video about Brenda, basically telling falsehoods and untruths and otherwise known as lies, has been reported by said person for bullying and harassment. And they said, hey, there's a problem here. Can you tell us what you think? And I wrote back and said, how is it bullying and harassment when she's being corrected on false statements of fact, knowing that she's false? This is first speech. I'm entitled to express my views and opinions. And they've upheld it. So it seems that Brenda's not allowed to be challenged on her falsehoods and lies because she'll cry the victim card and she'll claim that she's being harassed and bullied. What a load of shite. Brenda is not being harassed or bullied. She's just lying. And she's pulling the victim card. And somehow YouTube support that. I find that position ridiculous.
So what does happen to your channel then? Are you still allowed to do so?
No, nothing. They just warn you. I think the first community guideline strikes a warning. I don't think it has any adverse effects to give you a warning. Well, I wasn't bullying or harassing her. I was pointing out that she was lying, and that's not bullying or harassing. But she's pulled the victim card. Well, I don't know how I can possibly speak to that lady ever again, because if she's going to claim victim status for being told that she's wrong, that means that she can't debate anybody because she'll report them for bullying. So let that be a warning to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that stops the whole debate, doesn't it?
Of course it does. I wasn't rude. I just said that she was full of shit. She knows that she's lying. She knows that I've done experiments with hypothesis and independent variables and dependent variables, and I've demonstrated an alternative explanation for why gravity is not necessary or can't be evidenced, and she doesn't like it. And she reported me because she's a victim. I'll just be aware for everybody that's going to engage with Brenda. She might report you if you beat her.
How's that for victim mentality?
Yeah, she should be blackballed for that. Ridiculous. It's not a community guideline. Strength to disagree with somebody and point evidence to the contrary of her opinion.
Just
I mean,
a couple
Rumpus
of
never.
things. How do you know it was Brenda?
Because you have to be the person that's being bullied or harassed.
Do you?
Hmm?
Do you?
Do you?
Yeah, do you? You said that with
think
quite
so.
a lot of confidence.
I think so. Yeah. How could
You think
how
so?
could you report? Well, so yeah, but if that's not the case, that means I could report any of your videos. If somebody bullied or harassed you, in my opinion,
Yeah.
right?
And
That's not likely.
yeah, it is. You just-
Bring that idea to the world, hopefully.
Well, no, that's absolutely the case. I could get my videos reported for harassment and bullying, not by the victim, if you want to call her that in this instance. But yeah, it's open for anybody to report violations of community guidelines. That's what is being reported. So to assert that it's Brenda is not reasonable.
It would be ridiculous. Who else could be harassed or bullied by the video?
No, it's against the community guidelines to be harassing and bullying. That's the situation, not for her to wield as a. You've got a wrong idea about how the community guidelines work. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to pepper it, but I can't. I'm too ill.
That's rubbish. I don't know. I don't think you know what you're talking about. I've read through the guidelines on harassment and bullying, and none of the crimes that were detailed within that section were committed. Policies that YouTube community guidelines.
Oh, hold on. You said it was just. Did they specifically tell you that it was taken down for harassment and bullying?
Yeah, harassment and bullying. And then when you go into the harassment and bullying section, it says, these are the examples it gives. Learn more. I'm on the page right now. It says, if you're posting content revealing someone's personal information, such as their address, private email addresses, private phone numbers, etc., docs, basically, that's obviously not relevant. Content that is deliberately posted in order to humiliate someone. I was deliberately pointing out that she was wrong, lying and telling false statements of fact. That's not humiliation, although that might be a consequence to her.
That's a possibility, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that encourages lying, though.
Doesn't matter. I'm just looking for the reason. I don't, how outrageous it is that they even employ these rules. It's their platform, right? It's their rules. I'm just looking for the reason or the potential reason.
It's not been posted in order to humiliate someone. It's to point out that this person's representing false statements of fact. If she happens to be humiliated. No, humiliate is an extreme behavior of negativeness. Humiliate would be the wrong word. She might be embarrassed. She might be upset. Humiliate. There's better ways to humiliate Brenda in this context. I wouldn't say that humiliate's the right word.
Okay,
anyway, the other one say
hurtful and negative. Let's move on. What's the next one?
Hurtful and negative personal comments about another person. Well, they were negative, but they weren't personal. They were on topic. She made false statements of fact. Content that incites others to harass others. No, didn't do that. Non-consensual sex acts or unwanted sexualization. No. Threatening specific individuals with personal harm or destruction of property. No. Abusive or threatening behavior directed at a minor. No. Sexualizing or degrading an individual who is engaged in present or otherwise non-sexual context. Nope. Content claiming specific victims of public violent incidents or their next of kin are actors or their experiences are false. No, it's not that. It's the only one that can possibly be is the deliberately posted in order to humiliate someone. She talks shit. That's not humiliation. That's true. Anyway, I'm done rambling and moaning.
So where's the star of the show now?
Well, we start live in about 6 or 7 minutes, I think. 8 minutes.
Okay.
So when we're going to discuss this, are we going to discuss this from what perspective are we going to discuss it? From the we don't believe it, therefore it's not true, or it might be true, or are we just going to discuss it? What's the perspective or the angle?
With the Big
The
Bang.
angle that it's pseudoscience and has about 100,000 internal contradictions. Other than that, it's good to go.
So I could crack open the rum then and just sit back and enjoy this nonsense that we're about to laugh at.
Oh yeah, the briefing. Okay, I'm gonna stop every now and again, and when I do, just keep your comments concise and to the point, and don't drone on. That's all I ask.
Okay then.
So that is making it impossible then.
Yeah, there's fair space. There's fair gaps. You know, you do get there's fair gaps. Or typically there's fair gaps. I'm speaking right on John's behalf here.
Yeah. That's it. It's not that difficult. You'll get it. You guys will get it real quick. You'll see the inconsistencies and the contradictions, and you'll be laughing. It's the Big Bang, the nebular hypothesis, and we'll touch a little bit on the sun.
Metaphorically.
For real? Or yeah.
So, can I ask, before we go live, let me ask an obvious question that I've always wanted to ask, but we've never spoke about the Big Bang Theory, but I've always wanted to ask it, so I might as well ask it now. If the Big Bang Theory suggests that everything exploded from nothing, right? Doesn't that kind of violate the first law of thermodynamics in that energy can neither be created nor destroyed?
Yeah, we're going to touch on that briefly.
I've always wanted to ask that because it seems to be totally contradictory. It's like you can't start the essence of the beginning of time with a massive contradiction.
Oh, yes, they can. Somebody
And how
hold
about
their
second-
beer.
Oh, yes, they can. Oh, yes, they have.
And how about the second law then? Huh?
Well, I wanted to just start with the first one because it's like if energy can't be created or destroyed, what's the Big Bang Theory then?
Yeah. You're on it, Anthony. Yep.
So who's got the contradiction counter going?
It's going to be high.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
I'm really scared.
Scared too.
Double scared. Huh?
So can I ask that question, John, without being like told to shut up or whatever?
No, it's gonna come up probably pretty quickly. So no, that's a legitimate question.
Okay. Nathan, have you ever wondered how that happens? If matter can't be created or destroyed, how did the Big Bang happen?
I think Nathan is sparing his voice.
Hey, John, whilst we're here, I might as well just say this and get it out of the way. I feel honoured and privileged to be part of the... Hang on, how are we doing this live if you've not got enough viewers and stuff?
Got enough viewers. It's all set, isn't it? If it doesn't work, then that's why I've not actually shared it on Facebook yet.
Because I thought you had to have a certain amount of viewing times for it to work.
But to go live?
Yeah.
I think so.
Have you enabled it in community settings?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Hello.
Is that Chocolate saying? Can you back off your mic a little bit, Chocolate? But good to have you.
Hello. Am I too loud?
No, you're perfect now.
Hey, Chocolate, we're talking about Big Bang Theory tonight. And I just said to them, can I ask an obvious question before we get going? And they said, yeah, go on. I said, if the first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, How the fuck did the Big Bang happen if that's what created the whole of the universe? Where did that energy come from if it can't be created?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm hoping John's going to
That's a
give
good
a really
question.
good empirical-based explanation for that one because I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. The Big Bang is just.
Although, to be honest, if I was God and I wanted to create a universe in my back garden, I'd probably start it with a Big Bang. If it did happen,
That's how you would do it.
yeah, I'd mix a load of shit together, put a match to it, boom, and then all of a sudden I'll expect people to be living there.
Okay, just
yeah.
because
Makes
it's the first ever live stream, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes before the hour, but I'm going to start now, just in case there's any issues. So, everybody good with that?
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nope, didn't work.
I didn't think it would. You have to enable it in YouTube, you know. Have you done that?
We've done all that. We've done all that. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's just try something.
Okay. Hey, thanks for everyone coming to the first live broadcast. Maybe.
Which might not be if I can't get it to work.
No pressure, Nathan. You've got 2 minutes.
Not a problem, John.
2 minutes to work out 20 possible problems, and you've got to find that one. Go.
Go.
No, take 2 didn't work. Next thing.
I have no worries, man. You're a professional.
Welcome to BALLBUSTERS Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, that's Quantum Eraser, then you need to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the BALLBUSTERS, Flat Earth debate, science versus scientism, science versus pseudoscience, you name it, it is all going to be here on the Quantum Eraser channel. So subscribe today. This is obviously the very first live broadcast on this channel, so a massive warm welcome to all of you who do join us live for this first broadcast. Now, joining me this evening is, first and foremost, Quantum Eraser himself. So say a very big hello, Quantum Eraser.
Hello, sir, and thanks everyone for showing up. It's going to be a bang.
Let's hope so. We're also joined by Sleeping Warrior. How you doing?
Oh, can you hear me?
Of course, we did a sound check and a pre-show.
I didn't realise I was expected to speak. I'm sorry. I'm good.
Yeah,
All is good.
We're going to say hello to you at the very least. Has this show got a reputation or what?
It's a very wet weekend up here in Liverpool, Manchester way, so it's going dark as well. It's weird. It feels like it's a proper autumnal day.
We are also joined by Paula, otherwise known as YouTuber Bible Literalist. Very good to have you, Paula.
Hello, thank you. Good to be here on this historic occasion.
And also Betty, good to have you too. How are you doing, Betty?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Hello, everybody. And I'm very excited for the first show on Quantum Erasers channel. So, ready to go.
Excellent. And last but by no means least, we've got Chocolate saying, how are you doing, Chocolate?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How's everybody doing? Good to be here. Shout out to QE.
Shout out retracted.
Shout out, not retracted.
So, if you haven't figured it out already from the title, we're going to be covering the Big Bang, as is usually the case. Quantum Erasers drawn up what he called an attack on the low-hanging fruit, and we had a good laugh about some of the most glaring contradictions. If it's good by you, QE, I know Anthony's going to be aching to get this in at some stage, so might as well just get it dealt with straight away. If that's all good by you, if I can get my words out.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Big Bang Theory, right? For me, this is the biggest load of pseudoscience nonsense ever. Evidence for it is long since gone and all that. But for me, I've always wanted to ask this question because I've never had the opportunity because Big Bang's never come up in Flat Earth. But I want to know the answer to this question. If anybody can answer it, feel free. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. If the beginning of our existence came from the creation of a boatload of energy, how can we start from the beginning with a massive contradiction in thermodynamics? Either there was an exception to the rule or we didn't get here this way. Does anybody know what the answer is?
Pseudoscience.
Special pleading. Special pleading because they have to have an exception to start with, and then ever since then it's been the other way. So there you go.
This is like arguing that gravity is a force when you know it's not a force. Energy can't be created, so how can we exist if we resulted from the explosion of energy? That it's just, this is a massive contradiction, John. Am I the only one seeing this, or is this true?
No, it's a massive contradiction. And
right, the show's over. Let's go home and resume normal life.
Yeah, you've got it.
We're gonna have a little bit more fun than that. It not only violates the first law, it violates quantum mechanical laws. So the big one is the first law. We can just stick with that, but you'll be hearing that throughout the presentation, I'm sure, a couple times.
I've got my rum. I'm sat here ready to go. Let's hit this show on the road.
We need some more pomp and circumstance.
Oh, what, you want more frivolity before I stick your presentation up? I've got you on screen already. Might as well kick off.
Yeah. We can begin. Are we good to go?
We are indeed. The first presentation on the Quantum Erasers channel. Absolutely glorious. Go for your life.
Thank you, sir. All right, here we have a depiction of the Big Bang. You'll see this in numerous places. I think I first seen it with Brian Greene, right? Now let's take a look at this. We have a cone shape here of what happened. Let's go back to the beginning. This bright light back here, a quantum fluctuation. How'd you get that without a knower of the path information? But you'll just whistle past the graveyard. That's that one, right? Yeah. And inflation. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that with the father of inflation. And we'll get his take on what he thinks of inflation. But the biggest thing that I saw when I first looked at this was, you see all this black stuff out here, around the cone? They put a few token lights out here, but I don't know why they did that. The question is, what is this expanding into? That was my question. I don't think anyone's answered that question. And I like this little ruler bar down here, 13.7 billion years from this point over here to the end. Well, what about before this point? What's this back here? Is this 1.21 gigawatts? Right? Yeah, I have some questions on this. But I thought I'd bring it up to start us off. So what is the Big Bang Theory? Well, In 1927, the father of modern cosmology, get ready for this, globetards, Georges Henry Joseph Eduardo Lemaitre, the Jesuit and Catholic priest, say hello, conjured what we know as the Big Bang, which he termed then the hypothesis of the primeval atom. Distinguished astrophysicist Fred Hoyle of Cambridge and of the tornado through a junkyard fame, Fred Hoyle, during a 1949 BBC radio broadcast, coined the phrase Big Bang, clearly pejorative and derisive, as Fred was a proponent of steady state theory. You see, atheists didn't much care for the hypothesis of the primeval atom back then because it hinted at a creator and was highly contentious over the next 20 years. So let's get a look at this gentleman. Where did he go? Doesn't look like he's around. That's not him. Looks like I'm going to have to catch that in between a break and try to see if I can come up with that picture of him. We'll continue. So, what is the Big Bang Theory? The basics of the Big Bang Theory from the universe today are fairly simple. In short, the Big Bang hypothesis states that all of the current and past matter in the universe came into existence at the same time, roughly 13.8 billion years ago. At this time, all matter was compacted into a very small ball with infinite density and intense heat called a singularity, right? We got a couple questions with this universe today. Number one, came into existence. Pray tell, what, where, and how? Then please explain how this doesn't violate, Anthony, the first law of thermodynamics and quantum mechanics, please. Number two, whoa there, Cochise. Infinite density? More like infinite imagination. From Yakad Heap Pendian. A singularity means a point where some property is infinite. For example, at the center of a black hole, according to classical theory, the density is infinite because a finite mass is compressed to a zero volume. Really? From Fizzlink.com, the Big Bang singularity is a point of zero volume, but very high mass, which makes the density infinite. Do you see some problems with those citations above? Volume can't be zero in this equation. Just can't be. Can't have it. Why? Because every primary school student knows you can't divide by friggin' zero, right? It's undefined. So now we not only can divide by zero all of a sudden, but when we do, the answer's infinity. Yeah, that's what it equals. Yeah, they just defined it that way. Well, it's undefined. We'll divide by it. That's infinity. My word. Number three, scientifically validate 13.8 billion years. Right? Let's go through the questions real quick. Natural phenomena observed, please. Post a formal scientific hypothesis. Identify the independent, dependent, and control variables in the experiment. And cite source, please. And then post a null hypothesis that was rejected or falsified. You will not get any answers to this question. Why? There's no natural phenomena observed. You're stopped dead in your tracks right at step one, right? Unless you're 1.21 gigawatts, right? You're not going to be able to answer this question. It'd be easier resurrecting Alexander the Great's horse than answering A, B, C, or D. And number four, you can't have zero volume and also have heat, that is kinetic energy, vibrating molecules. Clowns. Let's stop right there. Quick stop. Any comments, questions there?
Feel free, Ballbusters.
Yeah, what can you say about this, huh? I mean, I don't understand the cone shape either. I mean, shouldn't it be going all over the place? If there is a place, time and space doesn't exist. So in when there's nothing. So
Yeah, it has a direction, a shape. It should be random, all in all directions, exploding.
yeah, why do you get a cone shape? I mean, is that only what we can see from our perspective? Is that what they're trying to tell us, or what?
And what banged out of nothing ever existing and suddenly something went bang? How does that happen?
And everything that says boom or bang usually destroys things instead of making things, huh? Also a contradiction. How many do we have already? Contradictions?
Who's keeping track of that? Who's keeping track of the contradictions? That was a pretty good idea in the pre-show.
Yeah, I don't have the app for a countdown.
I don't have the app.
Count up. Sorry.
Man,
Contradiction app.
21st century problems.
Well, if they can double speak, I can double speak. So.
Anthony?
Chocolate, Anthony?
Yeah, I think he's writing down the contradictions.
Anything to add, Chocolate? If not, we'll move on.
Yeah, I'll just say the very notion of nothing becoming everything is just so ridiculous. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Okay, you back up on screen?
All right, from space.com. Let's take a listen to another definition of the Big Bang Theory. It is the leading explanation about how the universe began. At its simplest, it talks about the universe as we know it, starting with a small singularity, then inflating over the next 13.8 billion years to the cosmos that we know today. So at least they're staying consistent with the other definitions above. That's the only positive. Number one, leading explanation. From the University of Rochester Physics Lab, common mistakes in applying the scientific method. The most fundamental error is to mistake the hypothesis for an explanation of a phenomena without performing experimental tests. Sometimes common sense and logic tempt us into believing that no test is needed. There are numerous examples of this dating from the Greek philosophers to the present day. So, all they have is a leading explanation. I'm sure we can get a lot of people with leading explanations. We don't need leading explanations. We need the hypothesis first and then test with experiment. You see this? They don't even have a hypothesis. You need a hypothesis, right? Not just an explanation. I don't know where you guys are getting there. Well, I can explain. We don't need your explanations. You can explain it and then provide the hypothesis. Just go through the scientific method for us and validate your explanation. Because if you don't validate your explanation, it's a just so story and we're going to laugh at you. Okay? Number two, starting with a small singularity. Where'd you get the singularity from? And inflation, like I said before, Paul Steinhardt, father of inflation theory. Interview in Scientific American since 1983, it has become clear that inflation is very flexible, parameters can be adjusted to give any result, and generically leads to a multiverse consisting of patches in which any outcome is possible. Imagine a scientific theory that was designed to explain and predict, but ends up allowing literally any conceivable possibility without any rule about what is more likely. What good is it? It rules out nothing and can never be put to a real test. Now, he compromises. Now, this train wrecks the whole inflation theory right on its face. However, Paul, you compromised yourself in this little statement because how did you get a real scientific theory to begin with without experimental tests? See the problem? That's rhetorical. From the BigBangTheory.com, they already have their own website. According to the standard theory, our universe sprang into existence as a singularity around 13.7 billion years ago. Sprang? Is that all you got? Again, from BigBangTheory.com, they give us a little more. The singularity didn't appear in space. Rather, space began inside of the singularity. Prior to the singularity, nothing existed. Not space, time, matter, or energy. Nothing. So where and in what did the singularity appear if not in space? We don't know. Well, that breeds a lot of confidence, along with about 5 contradictions in your little statement right here. So number 1, so nothing existed, then the singularity appeared? Again, please explain in a first law of thermodynamics and then quantum mechanics context, por favor. And 2, appeal to ignorance. We don't know. That was simple. You see, the Big Bang is not an actual scientific theory, folks. You see, they, that is, pseudoscientists, merely repeat these conjurings a few 100,000 times over multiple decades into the waiting ears of their incoherent hordes. For example, you baltards out there, then sit back and laugh. Why? Well, they know that their target audience wouldn't know the difference between actual science and a chartreuse windsock. They also know you will not only believe it, you'll mindlessly parrot it for them. Like I said, it's not a scientific theory. This is easy. Define the Big Bang, post the Big Bang scientific theory, post just 2 formal scientific hypotheses, then experiments that concretize into a real scientific theory. Highlight the independent variables used in each test. Post the null hypothesis that was rejected or falsified for each. Post the natural phenomena observed, the first step of the scientific method, that availed the scientific investigation to begin with. Right? You can't answer any of these questions. We already know that. But now, still call it science anyway. Maybe you could fool a couple second graders or preschoolers. Even more moronic, if that were possible, they have the brain-dead atheists parroting what they gnash their teeth and rail against, right? Religion. But remember, the conjurer of the Big Bang Theory was George's Henry Joseph Eduardo Lemaitre. He's a Jesuit and Catholic priest. It's tantamount to Jedi mind-tricking PETA nudist into advertising and backing fur traders, for crying out loud. You hypocrite, pretender clown, spinning space monkey muppets. Also, we have Georges Lemaitre, our Jesuit and Catholic priest, who was the first, listen up, to derive Hubble's law. Well, why is it Hubble's law? If he was the first to derive it, wouldn't it be Lemaitre's law? So, who was the first to derive Hubble's law, see redshift, published 2 years before Edwin Hubble did. It's officially known as the Hubble-Lemaitre law. What the heck? Why? Should be Lemaitre's law. And see my personal demolition of the CMB and redshift fiascos on my channel shortly. We're going to be going over those. So, like I said, let's take a look. Let's get you oriented to who we're talking about here. So, in the middle here is Abby Georges Lemaitre, besides Weird Al, and we have Joe Pesci's grandfather, Utes. Nah, I'm just kidding. I think this is Robert Millikan, but this is the gentleman that we're talking about here, right? This is Abby Georges Lemaitre. Take a good look at him, globetards, because this is your father. He's the father of modern cosmology. Okay? Questions, comments?
That's all new information, actually, to me. I did not know that. Is that new information to anyone else on the panel?
Nope.
To be honest, a lot of this is new to me because I always looked at it from the first perspective and thought, hang on, Big Bang Theory, where's the evidence for it? Oh, there is none? Right, I can dismiss that based on evidence alone.
Oh, wait a second. You're the begging the question fallacy trail king. Why don't you go down here with me?
I try, but it's really hard to beg the question with the Big Bang Theory when there's zero evidence to start with. At least for things like gravity, they've at least got apples that fall from trees, and obviously an accelerating mass is a force. At least you've got that to start with. But what Big Bang Theory in space? Where do you start with the empirical evidence that's verifiable and credible for that? You can't. There is none. So for me, it's like it's completely illogical and irrational to even consider it in the first place.
Any more?
Yeah. Can you scroll back to the quote from where you see the Greek Greek priests, basically, I think. I mean, if everything sprang from there, isn't it then that it's just all coming back to a couple of people said something in the past, and this is now the result of it?
Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, there was some quote where you had said that it's nothing about experiments and stuff, and then it says something about, it's a while back, I think. A little bit back.
Is it a little further than the inflation theory?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there you go. I mean, there were numerous examples of this, dating from the Greek philosophers to the present days. I mean, it began with a couple of people that had some ideas, philosophers, right? So they didn't do any experiments. They were just thinking about stuff. And it seems like they all derive all these ideas and come back to these Greek philosophers and say, look at these wise people.
Right. In the context of no experiments. Yeah, you're correct. That's what they were doing. Exactly. Yeah. They would just make a claim or like you say, just declare. Yeah.
Or that they were just philosophizing and we are, after the fact, making it up to be that they were correct or something. I mean, it seems like they have these guys in the past, which we cannot verify what they really believe. They wrote up stuff, but how can we know that that's true? Huh? I mean, people are also about the Bible are saying stuff. Well, how could that be? These were fallible people, weren't they? But we're going after these Greek philosophers as if they are telling the truth.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter anyway because they don't have, not only the Greeks. I mean, if they're going to parrot what they got back in history, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But show me the experiment with your explanation validating this claim. That's how you deal with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. And what is a singularity exactly? Can anybody show me a singularity?
Can any of the 100 people watching on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel show you a singularity?
Maybe that's the singularity. The idea that this is a new show on the Quantum Eraser channel.
That's my ham-handed way of shouting out the fact that you've got 100 people watching, which is just awesome. Anyway.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm just overwhelmed. These past 10 days, it's been a whirlwind for me. I never planned on having a channel, so things are moving at a rapid rate, let me tell you. But I appreciate you guys.
Shout out to Nathan for bullying.
What? Any comments, Paula?
Nothing really new to add. It's just such an obvious just so story from the very start. What else is there to say? I mean, they admit there was nothing at one time, and then they say something, a singularity, to call it something, just appeared magically, and then it exploded magically without a cause into something bigger than itself, which is impossible, and then it ordered itself. It's just one self-contradiction after another is built on pulling a rabbit out of a hat. There's just not much to say about it.
Yeah.
I do have one question.
Go ahead, Sleeping Warrior.
John, according to the Big Bang Theory, is it possible that there could be matter before the Big Bang Theory that was in the place where the Big Bang exploded? Could there have been matter in that area where the Big Bang exploded? In other words, is there anything older than the Big Bang itself?
No, that's a second law of thermodynamics violation.
So in that case, I've got something to present, and I'm not sure if now's the right time or not.
How long is it?
30 seconds.
Oh, that's fine.
By present, you just mean say.
Start the clock.
Say again, Nathan.
Just means say, right?
Yeah, present my screen if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so if nothing can exist in the area where the Big Bang took place, right? Daily Mirror, national newspaper in England, is reporting that there is a star that's older than the universe, pointing to a major flaw in the Big Bang theory. just one major flaw, right? So apparently it says, a star that's older than the universe is baffling scientists, suggesting that there might be something fundamentally wrong, just one thing that's wrong with the Big Bang theory. Detailed measurements of the expansion rate of the universe based on Einstein's theory of general relativity placed the Big Bang at around 13.8 billion years ago. However, recent analysis of a star known as Methuselah star using the orbiting Hubble Space Telescope suggests that it is 14.5 billion years old, some 700 million years older than the universe. The Methuselah star, codenamed blah blah blah, was first catalogued in 1912 and lies only 190 light years from Earth. Analysis of the star has revealed that it contains very little iron, suggesting that it formed before the element became common in the universe. What do we know about how spectroscopy and light and interpretation of spectroscopy shapes our interpretations of the atmosphere? Well, Nathan's got the best explanation for that one, because I'm going to get background noise now. Nathan, do you want to tell us about how the telescope thing with the what is it, spectroscopy? What's that one?
Well,
what the example?
I'll leave that till the end. So just so you don't get if you can get your screen unpresented and quantum erasers presented again, just so that's done. The transsexual spectroscopy example can wait till after, if that's good by you.
Yeah, but my point was that apparently they've now found a star that was older than the Big Bang itself. So I find that to be ridiculous.
Yeah, But I see there's a little confusion here because, number one, with your question, you said before the universe. That's not what they're saying here. What they're saying is that they're trying to push the timetable out because you can't have a star older than the universe because the star is in the universe, right? So that's a contradiction right there. What they're trying to do is they're trying to push the timeline back now, right?
Well,
the
heading does say star that is, quote, older than the universe points to a major flaw. I mean, I'm not saying that it is or it's not. I'm just telling you what the news is telling us.
It can't be older than the universe. The child can't be older than the parent.
I know. That's what I'm pointing out.
That's the first thing I thought when you said it. I was like, wait a minute. How could it be older than the universe if it's in the universe? How does that make sense?
I'm just pointing out the silliness
of what
being told in the news.
Let's just bring
Is someone writing this down as a contradiction?
Yeah, it is. It's another one for the contradiction counter. But I just want to point out that if you're just making this stuff up, right, the contradictions don't really matter, because it's not real to begin with.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually affect our life very much. I know people believe this is their reality, and that's complete nonsense, but I'm just saying, when you're making it up in the first instance, there's going to be problems.
Yeah, but I think what it does is, like, if you're not evidence-based, right, you're going to believe that there's possibly a star that's older than the universe. But if you're an empiricist like me, you're going to look at this and think that the science world is trolling the dopey people, people like, I don't know, Daniel in chat that thinks that stuff that appears in newspapers is true. They're actually trolling people like Daniel. That's what they're really doing. I just look at it and laugh and think that they're trolling people. But Daniel thinks that it's true because it's in the news.
Well, I'm going to take most of this to the woodshed, not here today, but in pieces. So, coming up on the channel will be detailed videos on the speed of light, redshift, CMB fiascos. I'm just going to take these things to the woodshed and bludgeon them senseless, right? The new one will be spectroscopy because what I'm finding here is the ball tarts. all they say is spectroscopy. Most can't even say it. It's usually spectroscopy or spectroscopy or things like that. And they just say the word and they think that everything's good. They have no idea what they're parroting, right? There's huge differences between terrestrial spectroscopy and celestial spectroscopy. Of course, you guys don't even know what spectroscopy is, the tenets of it, what they're even doing. So I love people when they say spectroscopy. That PhD physicist, what the heck is his name? He was on your channel. He said that physicists aren't interested in the natural world. Darn, his name has just left me. He brought up that spectroscopy too. And as soon as he said it, I challenged him immediately, right? He couldn't go into any depth whatsoever. You know why? Because he was just parroting from Wiki. Oh, Phil Nye, the physics guy. Physics isn't interested in the natural world. Physics guy. That guy, yeah. So all these guys just say spectroscopy and they think everything's good. It band-aids the wound. Everything's fine. I'll tell you what. I yearn for people to say that to me. I yearn for it. So please, say spectroscopy.
Nah, can't pronounce it, so.
Yeah, we ain't gonna get into it today because we got too much information to go through still.
I need you to share your screen again, if you will.
Thanks, Anthony.
Once it's
Tell me when it's up.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, we're good to go. This is the big one that they use, right? The cosmic microwave background radiation. Another band-aid. They think, the Big Bang's true. CMB. Yeah? Just wait a few weeks. We're going to deal with the CMB on its own. We'll take a couple pot shots now. So, like I said, these Dunning-Kruger mindless hypocrites see the PETA nudist fur traders above. They just parrot this stuff. All right, now what I want you to pay attention to is this year right here. Everyone got it? 1948, right? The year 1948. 11 papers were submitted mainly by 3 players, George Gamow and his students, Ralph Alpher and Robert Herman. Now the hot Big Bang was bubbling. The predictions, yeah, right, though were of what was already known to exist. This is easy to find out. The theorists in 1948 were merely conforming the model to data already collected from 1937 to 1941. The 3 musketeers up here made additional predictions of the CMB temperature that ranged from 3 degrees to 50 degrees Kelvin. Wow, that's a big difference, folks. They're just making this up anyway. And they already knew, as we're going to see here in a few seconds. So, from NASA, the existence of the CMB radiation was first predicted, like I said, from Ralph Alpher in 1948 in connection with his research on Big Bang nucleosynthesis undertaken together with Robert Herman and George Gamow. Just talked about that above. Like I said before, predicted. Okay, let's see the hypothesis. Right? You can't have a prediction without a hypothesis, people. That's what a prediction is. A scientific prediction. So we have Robert Wilson. This is Wilson, Penzias and Wilson that got the Nobel Prize, right, for discovering the CMB. Oh, really? Well, let's take a listen to what Robert Wilson had to say in his Nobel lecture. The first confirmation of the microwave cosmic background that we knew of, however, came from a totally different indirect measurement. This measurement had in fact been made 30 years earlier by Adams and Dunning. Adams and Dunning had discovered several faint optical interstellar absorption lines, which were later identified with the molecules CH, CH+, and CN. In the case of CN, in addition to the ground state, absorption was seen from the first rotationally excited state. McKellar, using Adams' data on the population of these 2 states, calculated that the excitation temperature of CN was 2.3 Kelvin. Right? He's talking about these. In 1937, remember our date? We had to remember 1948, right? In 1937, Adams and Dunham found absorption lines, which were later identified with interstellar molecules of CH and CH plus and CN. This is from the publication of the American Astronomical Society, like Robert Wilson was just talking about. He's talking about these studies, or this study, and this study, from the preceding Astronomical Society. In 1940, Canadian astrophysicist and spectroscopist Andrew McCullough calculated the CN molecules were in thermal equilibrium with a temperature of about 2.3 Kelvin. So they already knew it, 1937, 1940. So we already had made measurements showing up. We already had measurements showing up in the literature 8 years before 1948, people, making this mystic prediction a post-diction. It's a classic Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Everyone know what that is, the Texas sharpshooter. Briefly, what you do is you get a big-ass barn door and you start shooting at it, right? Then you walk over, you find the tightest shot group, and then you put your target around it. That's what the Texas sharpshooter fallacy is. This is a joke, people. You think I'm just making this up? Hold on for a couple minutes. Robert Wilson again, from his Nobel lecture. At that time, some radio astronomers thought that the microwave absorption of the Earth's atmosphere was about twice the value we were using. In other words, the sky temperatures, figure 6 and 8, was about 5 Kelvin instead of 2.5 Kelvin. We knew from our measurement of sky temperature, as shown in figure 7, that this could not be the case. Really? How'd they know that? Again, see my personal demolition of the CMB and redshift fiascos quite shortly. They'll be coming out. All right? And this is all, this CMB, this is a joke. Redshift is a joke, is what I'm trying to say. But we're getting off topic just a little bit. At 5Ka, that's a full universe worth of error in the prediction. Yeah, their Mystic Meg prediction. This is tantamount to predicting the Seahawks will score between 0 and 1,000 points in their next game and claiming confirmation of the prediction when they score 28. Wow. You must be a scientist. Let's just say what needs to be said. Mitchell, William, Big Bang Theory Under Fire from Physics Essays, Volume 10, Number 2. This is a peer-reviewed journal. Listen up. History also shows that some Big Bang cosmologists' predictions of the MBR, that's a microwave background radiation temperature, have been adjusted after the fact, Texas sharpshooter-like, to agree with the observed temperatures. Ka-friggin' boom. Questions, comments?
Yeah, like I say,
I got one.
Well, I just want to reiterate what I said before, which is, like I say, when you're making it up, there's going to be problems. So fudging the facts to match reality, that's going to be a consistent theme, right?
So let me give a flat Earth reference for this. Slice Barkane recently did a test or a measurement which he claimed would demonstrate the curvature of the Earth using pipes with water in it, and he said it would conform to the shape of the Earth. And when he failed to get the confirmation he was hoping for, he started looking for the reasons for why. Can you imagine if he, quote, adjusted his results to match the shape of the Earth, and it was then become apparent that he'd adjusted them results? That wouldn't go down very well in the flat Earth community, would it? But it seems to be okay in the scientific community. It seems to be a little bit false to me.
It's a complete outrage. Betty, maybe?
Nah, nothing to add to this. It's contradiction and contradictions.
Another one for the counter. Chocolate?
Yeah, again, like, how do we know what the temperature was, and they're just adjusting it after the fact? Like, it's just it's ridiculous to think how many people believe this to be their actual reality. And it's crazy because I went so long without realizing how unscientific the Big Bang really was. And yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's an outrage. I've left you till last, Paula, because I'm pretty sure you're going to have a few things to say on this. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it goes back to what Betty said about the Greek philosophers. That's where it came from, philosophy, not observation. And so they have to do the Texas sharpshooter thing to make it all work. And that's just as you predicted, saying that it's a fantasy from the start. So that's what you're going to get. You're going to see all these problems with it because the story has to keep changing. It's like George Lucas, in his prequels and sequels, changing the storyline fundamentally and just ruining the whole story. But in pseudoscience, it doesn't ruin the story. People just have the memory of a goldfish, and so they don't remember what was predicted in the 20 or 30 years ago, let alone the 20s or 30s. And so it's easy to do because it's a never-ending story that just keeps evolving. That's the only thing that really evolves is the story. And they don't teach people in school the history of these scientific theories. I've mentioned a physics class I took called 7 Ideas That Shook the Universe, and there was a BBC series called The Day the Universe Changed that brings that point out, that the whole idea, the whole paradigm of what we're living in has changed significantly at least 7 times in history. And nobody bats an eye. They're just like, well, we used to believe this, now we believe that, but it's always believed. It's never proved. And it's all relying on math and derivation and speculation purely. So it's philosophy at the very heart of it, start and end.
Right, and it's also a nice highlighting of the hijacking of science. There's no empiricism here, there's no establishment of cause and effect here, but we're still going to hear the word science being used by you when you're describing what they described to us from birth, in terms of their models and their reifications and their Texas sharpshooter changing the details after the fact. The whole thing's an outrage, but people still firmly hold on to it as their reality. Shocks me now, and I want to verbalise it, but that is the situation we're in with 99% of the Western world. We talk amongst ourselves like it's so normal to poo-poo this stuff and outright dismiss it for the nonsense that it is, and lest we forget that so many people are brainwashed with it. It's a really weird position that we find ourselves in this current time. I hope you all agree.
Yeah, certainly agree.
Yeah.
You move on?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let me know what's up.
Ready to go whenever you are. You're up.
We good? All right. Christians, be very, very careful. Because remember, Georges Lemaitre, Jesuit and Catholic priest, conjured the Big Bang. So let's slam the brakes on the Christian moniker. Let's take a look at a compare and contrast between Big Bang and God's Word. Big Bang, naturalistic cause. Singularity, quantum fluctuation, that's a joke. Nothing and others. Also a first law and quantum mechanics violation. God's Word, God caused it. Big Bang, billions of years ago. God's Word, thousands of years. See Genesis 5:10 in the Doctrine of Salvation. Big Bang, sun before the earth. God's Word, earth before the sun. Big Bang, earth, molten rock first. God's Word, earth, water first. Big Bang, fish before trees. God's Word, trees before fish. And probably a bunch of people's favorites down here. We won't get into any discussion today. Is Big Bang, dinosaurs before birds, and God's Word, birds before dinosaurs. So, like I said, be careful up here. Let's touch a little bit on something from nothing. This is David Darling on creation of something from nothing, New Scientist. He's a particle physicist. What is the big deal? The biggest deal of all is how you get something out of nothing. Don't let the cosmologists try to kid you on this one. They have not got a clue either, despite the fact that they are doing a pretty good job of convincing themselves and others that this is really not a problem. In the beginning, they will say, there was nothing, no time, space, matter, or energy. Then there was a quantum fluctuation from which, stop right here, stop right there. You see what I mean? First, there is nothing, then there is something. And the cosmologists try and bridge the two with a quantum flutter, a tremor of uncertainty that sparks it all off. Then they're away, and before you know it, they've pulled 100 billion galaxies out of their quantum hats. Friggin' joke. David Albert, quantum physicist, on the origin of everything. He responded to the knucklehead Lawrence Krauss, is his review of A Universe from Nothing. This is what he had to say. The fact that some arrangements of fields happen to correspond to the existence of particles and some don't is not a whit more mysterious than the fact that some of the possible arrangements of my fingers happen to correspond to the existence of a fist and some don't. And the fact that particles can pop in and out of existence over time as those fields rearrange themselves is not a whit more mysterious than the fact that the fist can pop in and out of existence over time as my fingers rearrange themselves. And none of these poppings, if you looked at them aright, amount to anything even remotely in the neighborhood of a creation from nothing. Alan Guth, professor of physics at MIT. In this context, a proposal that the universe was created from empty space is no more fundamental than a proposal that the universe was spawned by a piece of rubber. It might be true, but one would still want to ask where the piece of rubber came from. Questions, comments?
Yeah, well, I think that you have to know where something comes from, but it's more important. Nothing ever happens without intent and an action and someone putting something in action. So there's an intelligent design behind that, I would suggest. So even though that the whole thing is fallacious to begin with, but there has to be someone wanting to do something because of an action, right? And then you have a result. So it's I don't know why they go on and on about this, and now they think also that there are multi-universes and that some universes die and go over into another, and yeah, it's ridiculous.
Has everybody else seen that list before? You know, Big Bang first, God first, that list where it contrasts so many different things. It's amazing how many different subjects that seems to transcend.
Yeah, and the whole thing again is that science cannot examine the past. It can only examine the present. And when you're talking about one-off event in the past, you're talking about forensic evidence, and you can't derive that with math. You can't sit in a courtroom and use math to determine who was guilty. You know, you have to have some kind of witnesses, circumstances, and whatnot, and you can't make up the witnesses and circumstances, so they're hosts. They can't do this scientifically. It's impossible. It's a past event.
I'm speaking my love language.
Anthony or chocolate? Any more for any more? Think not. Maybe move on.
Yeah, we're right back to how did they? First off, what did they observe? Like, how if everything is already here, how do you go back to when everything was not here to observe that it wasn't here? Like, it's just nonsense. You have no scientific method at all from the go. So, just guesswork. Numbers, stories, fantastical stories of cone-shaped explosions and of nothing. It's nonsense.
Or they're hiding the real DeLorean from us.
Right? Could be that.
I doubt it.
That would be much cooler.
Going back in time, having an actual time machine. That's what they're basically doing, isn't it? They're saying, yeah, back in time, we know what happened. Really? How did you see that then? No. Sleeping Warrior, anything to add?
Right.
Not on topic, no.
Fair enough. Moving on.
Let me know when it's up.
Yeah, you are up.
So, if you thought the Big Bang was a tear-jerking belly laugher, then hold on to your seat. Somebody hold the nebular hypothesis's beer. This, folks, is still taught in quackademia. So, from Immanuel Kant, 1755, some 4 billion years ago, the sun had ejected a tail or a filament of material that cooled and collected and thus formed the planets. Wow, great story that is. I don't think he thought this through. The originator of this nebular hypothesis met with Edmund Halley, of Halley's Comet fame, at Cambridge. Then Halley passed it off to Kant. The originator's name was Emanuel Swedenborg. He proffered the nebular hypothesis nonsense to Edmund Halley 21 years before Kant and Laplace had his version also. Guess where Swedenborg got the idea from? I'll just release it right here for you. Swedenborg, by talking with spirits from Jupiter, Mars, Venus, and the Moon. You think I'm joking? I'm not joking about this. This is documented till the cows come home, people. So this is where your science is coming from. This is a belly laughing joke.
Reverend John Mitchell would be disgusted, wouldn't he? I said Reverend John Mitchell would be disgusted.
The Reverend John Mitchell, yeah. So, the nebular hypothesis aficionados, another fiasco. Allow me to introduce to you the law of conservation of angular momentum. See, this states that angular momentum is conserved when there is zero net torque, red vacuum, applied to a system, where the system is the object or objects that are rotating. We can picture a skater spinning faster when their arms are pulled in close to the body. We've all observed this. Some of us have done this, not me. In the formation of the sun from a nebula in space, the same effect would have occurred as the gases allegedly contracted. Second law of thermodynamics violation there, folks, but we'll continue. Into the center to form the sun. This would have caused the sun to spin very rapidly. So we're just sticking with their story here. But the sun spins very slowly while the planets move very rapidly around the sun. In fact, the sun has over 99.86% of the mass of the solar system, but has less than 2% of the angular momentum. This pattern is directly opposite of the pattern Mystic Meg predicted for the nebular hypothesis. Yeah. What a contradiction. This is a contradiction piled on contradiction on top of many contradictions. And the outer planets are larger than the inner ones. Again, directly opposite of the Nostradamus prediction of the nebular hypothesis. From Nei, birth of Uranus and Neptune from astronomy. Psst. Astronomers who model the formation of the solar system have kept a dirty little secret. Uranus and Neptune don't exist. Or at least computer simulations have never explained how planets as big as the two gas giants could form so far from the sun. Bodies orbited so slowly in the outer parts of the solar system that the slow process of gravitational accretion would need more time than the age of the solar system to form bodies with 14.5 and 17.1 times the mass of the Earth. Joke. More, the nebular hypothesis Carnival Tent predicts that as the nebula spiraled inwards, all the resulting planets and comets would rotate and orbit in the same direction. That's prograde. But Venus and Uranus rotate in the opposite direction, called retrograde. Another contradiction. Lucy, you have some more splaining to do. By the way, retrograde orbits satellites and moons, Triton from Neptune, Ananke, Carme, Pasiphae, and Centipede, Jupiter, and Phoebe, Saturn. There is no plausible solar origin of the fairy tale planets. There is no plausible natural origin of the sun. None. Zero. I'll hold off right there. Questions, comments?
Who wants to go first?
I'll just say that I learned about Swedenborg years ago in studying religious issues. He had some crazy ideas, not to understate, but there are people today who follow him, some flat earthers, go figure. But that's, again, philosophy, religious, that people don't have a problem with, but as soon as you say Bible, they have a problem with it. It's the double standard that Betty just touched on earlier a couple of breaks ago. Other than that, nope.
Wait a second. Are you calling into question the credulity of the spirits from those different planets and moons?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roger.
Spirits from the moon, Venus, Jupiter. Wow.
Well, no, I was more interested in the process of, or the length of time needed for the gravitational accretion of the gas giants. I mean, is that just basically an issue with their angular size being a bit too big based on their bullshit, right?
Yeah, and it looks like they're trying to push that time frame out a bit, doesn't it? See Anthony's spiel about 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago.
Makes you wonder why they're trying to push the time frame out. It's either that or they're literally just trolling people like Wiggles and Daniel, who'll believe anything that's in the newspapers.
Before the beginning, we had this star.
I think they're trying to troll everybody with this nonsense.
Do you know what? It's funny because it's like you just said, Paul, the minute someone says Bible, they just go crazy, right? There's more evidence for Noah's Ark than there is for gravity. Just think about that for a minute, because it's absolutely true. At least there are boats knocking around that people claim to be the Ark. Well, whether they are or not, at least they've got boats. You guys can't even demonstrate a force that you believe is causing things called gravity. It's nonsense.
Yeah, you can go examine the places where, and the pieces of petrified wood or whatever they're finding, and check the records and see, yeah, there was a thing there. There's some evidence for it. You can see the sulfur in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's still ignitable today. So yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is, though, even if they're not the Ark or Sodom and Gomorrah, let's just say that the evidence turns out to be wrong. At least you can go and look at the evidence to work out whether you think it's right or wrong. Right. There is nothing for gravity other than belief.
Oh,
it's a story.
Let's do a rare shout out for RSE channel. So he recently visited the town of Gomorrah, if you can call it that. It's just a wasteland, and did exactly that when I had a look at the sulfur. Anyway, shout out to RSE. Subscribe today. Chocolate, did you have something to add? I know you were trying to get a word in there.
No, I mean, I could go on with all sorts of archaeology that's been done that is real evidence that you can examine and put in a lab, but, that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about stories.
I'm just going to do another quick shout out to the 150 people watching this live. Big shout out to all of you who've tuned into Quantum Erasers channel live. Subscribe if you've not done so already. Betty, have you got something to add?
Nope. Not at all. Everything's been said, so.
So somebody's just put it in the chat. It's $E. So yeah, I'm not even going to. Anti-disestablishmentarianism puts it RSE. $E. Yeah, correct. Move on. Quantum Eraser. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did I? You're up. Ready when? Yeah. You're ready when you are.
Did Chocolate want to add anything?
Oh, yes. Paula answered. I did ask Chocolate, but Paula answered. Chocolate, did you want to add something?
No, I'm good. Everything that could be said has been said. It's just fanciful stories. I did like what Paula said, too. Like, yeah, people say Bible and they lose their minds, but then they believe this. You don't lose your mind at this?
No, and same goes for Reverend John Michelle. Right, I'm going to put you back up, John. You're ready. I'm ready whenever you are.
10-minute warning. This is the last topic for today. It's going to be, we're going to talk a little bit about the sun. So, sun formation. Let's go to Eva Novotny, Introduction to Stellar Atmospheres and Interiors. Listen, I'm going to read this twice. I'm going to read this without any comment from myself, and just below I'm going to add my comments to this. This is beautiful. Listen closely. The process by which an interstellar cloud is concentrated until it is held together gravitationally to become a protostar is not known. In quantitative work, it has simply been assumed that the number of atoms per cubic centimeter has somehow increased about 1,000-fold over that in a dense nebula. The two principal factors inhibiting the formation of a protostar are the gas that has a tendency to disperse before the density becomes high enough for self-gravitation to be effective, and that any initial angular momentum would cause excessively rapid rotation as the material contracts. Some mechanism must therefore be provided for gathering the material into a sufficiently small volume that self-gravitation may become effective, and that angular momentum must in some way be removed. Okay, got that? Here's my additions. Let's see if we can find some peccadillos in here. I'm sure they're not going to be that hard. I highlight them. So we're going to read it again. The process by which an interstellar cloud is concentrated until it is held together gravitationally to become a protostar is not known. In quantitative work, it has simply been assumed that the number of atoms per cubic centimeter has somehow increased about 1,000-fold over that in a dense nebula. The two principal factors inhibiting the formation of a protostar are that the gas has a tendency to disperse. Yeah, that's called the second law of thermodynamics. Before the density becomes high enough for self-gravitation, which gravity Einsteinian or Newtonian, John Michelian, would that be, love? And by the way, both are debunked. To be effective, and that any initial angular momentum would cause excessively rapid rotation as the material contracts. Some mechanism that directly violates the second law of thermodynamics must therefore be provided for gathering the material into a sufficiently small volume that self-gravitation that doesn't exist may become effective. And this is a belly laugher right here. And the angular momentum must in some way be removed. This is an absolute train wreck. I couldn't believe she wrote this. When I first stumbled on this, I was shocked, right? I don't know. I'd rather go to a carnival tent and get my palm read. This is a joke, folks. This has so many contradictions in it. It's hilarious. And I just pointed a few out here. Listen to these from Fred Hoyle again. Where microbes boldly went in New Scientist. There is no reasonable astronomical scenario in which mineral grains in space clouds, gas clouds, can condense. None. From Jeffrey Burbridge, Director, Kitt Peak National Observatory. If stars did not exist, it would be easy to prove that this is what we expect. From Abraham Loeb, Harvard Center for Astrophysics. Physics. Sorry about that. The truth is that we don't understand star formation at a fundamental level. Yeah, the truth is, Abraham, willful ignorance. You don't understand it because it directly violates the laws of quantum mechanics and the second law of thermodynamics. That's why you don't understand it. So you've chosen to whistle past the graveyard and float a feigned argument from ignorance fallacy with an implied argument to the future fallacy wrapped around its incoherent ankles to keep your mind-numbing just-so story fairy tales alive. That's what you've done. You ain't fooling anyone. Paul Davies, the greatest puzzle is where all the order in the universe came from originally. How did the cosmos get wound up if the second law of thermodynamics predicts asymmetric unwinding toward disorder? Yeah, big mystery, Paul. Real puzzle. Is hydrogen bonding, sipping tea, and jogging in the rain unsolvable riddles? You all of a sudden get real stupid. The really scary thing, most of you never even look at these Formica deep hammer meet C4 fire contradictions. Just take their word for it without the least bit of due diligence or scrutiny. Like the spinning ball fiasco, then mindlessly parrot this abject buffoonery. That's all it is. Alice in Wonderland has more veracity than all of the nonsense put together that I've talked about today. Let's finish up more with the sun. So the standard model of the sun states that the sun is more or less a nuclear reactor. Wow. Allegedly has an inner core temperature of 15 million Kelvin. Let's just beat this thing over the head. So here's a good picture of it with the surface of the sun. From their story, the photosphere, you have the chromosphere just above the photosphere, and then the corona, just to orient you. This is the temperature profile of the sun brought to you by, according to their fairy tale story. So let me orient you here. On the left axis over here, or the y-axis, I'm sorry, is a logarithmic scale of temperature. On the x-axis is the distance above the convection zone or the photosphere. Okay? So as you can see, the temperature back here inside the sun is 15 million Kelvin. So it starts going down, really going down. I don't know where it lost all that energy from, but that's another story. So finally we get to the photosphere, right? So no problems here right now. It keeps going down into the photosphere. That's where this is. It gets to about 5,800 degrees Kelvin. So then as it moves towards, this is the chromosphere. Sorry, this is a little blurry. As it moves towards the chromosphere, its temperature slowly rising. And it's slowly rising through the chromosphere. It's still slowly rising. And then, bam, it goes parabolic from about 10,000 Kelvin up through the chromosphere into the transition point with the corona, and finally bolts out at about 1 million. Listen, if I went out further, it would even be more ridiculous. Does anyone see a problem here? Let me elucidate it. So the inner core of the temperature, according to their story, the inner core of the temperature of the sun is 15 million Kelvin. The outer surface of the sun, the photosphere, like I said, is approximately 5,800 degrees Kelvin. On its way to and through the chromosphere, the temperature slowly rises, then goes parabolic from 10,000 Kelvin to 500,000 to 1 million Kelvin, and even further when nearing the corona. Then 1 million Kelvin to 10 million Kelvin. You guys see it yet? I suppose the fairy tale pseudoscience priests collectively missed the lectures on the second law of thermodynamics. Heat really does flow up parabolic hills. This story is tantamount to standing near a wood stove, then moving back 500 meters because it's too hot. Then you spontaneously combust. That's what this is. This is a freaking joke, people. And this is their story. I am not making this up. You've all heard it before. I just put a little cowbell with it. So that finishes up the presentation. Thanks for your ear. Have a great day. And thanks for subscribing and showing up to the first ever live show on my channel, folks. Appreciate that. Out.
Good presentation. Well done. I think that's an excellent opener as a live show. I was just about to thank 153 people in the live stream for tuning in, hopefully smashing the PayPal link, and of course subscribing to Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. So any of the Ballbusters got any closing remarks? The live stream link isn't going to be public for this first show, although if you are on the Discord server, Science versus Pseudoscience, this is your opportunity. We may have a little bit of public response, we shall see, but you'll have to already be registered as part of that server. So any of the Ballbusters, maybe if we start where we left off last time, Chocolate, anything to add? Closing remarks, perhaps?
Yeah. So all this was based around the violation of the first law of thermodynamics.
Are you Chocolate?
You never said Chocolate. You said any of the Ballbusters panel, didn't you?
It doesn't matter.
I actually did say Chocolate, but it's all good.
Oh, did he?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go on mute, Chocolate. You interrupt.
It's all right. It's all right. No. Go ahead, brother.
I thought you said anybody on the panel. Did he not say that?
I think we should specifically hear from Sleeping Warrior, you know.
praise to Sleeping White. Right. So all this whole discussion or this whole presentation is based on a violation of the first law of thermodynamics, that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. This is nonsense. I can't believe that this is even a potentially real scenario. Where's the science for this? It's nonsense.
They just make it up, Anthony.
Well,
Did you know that?
My favorite is the sun. The whole that what John just went over, how it actually gets hotter as it goes away from the core. It's like, what? How does that work again?
I like the
That's
analogy.
my favorite part of the story of the sun.
I like the analogy too. So you're quite close to the bonfire, and you go, "Whoa, it's a bit hot here. I'll move back 10 feet." So you walk backwards 10 paces, and then suddenly burst into flames because it's got much hotter.
Yeah, I mean, this is comedy. It's hilarious.
Paula? Right.
Not to mention that it's sitting in a vacuum too. So yeah.
I was going to say,
yeah.
I'll brace myself for Anthony's voice.
Yeah, I would just say once again, you can't falsify a story. I mean, it's not science if you can't falsify it. It's not a scientific theory. And there's no way to falsify a story, especially one with so many contradictions. You can make it anything you like. It's pure fantasy.
Which is what they kind of do with gravity. It's the same kind of nonsensical explanation. The more we talk about it, the more real it is.
It's like climate change. They gave up calling it global warming and global cooling, and now it's climate change, and now it's climate chaos, because whatever they call it, they can make anything they want to blame for it.
Yeah. So if it's global warming, it's because the ice caps are melting, right? Increasing the volume of water over the whole planet. But when they realise it's cooling, then it becomes, well, it's cooling because we're putting too much oxygen or whatever into the atmosphere, and they'll constantly make it as though it's our fault and we all need to be taxed for it.
Yeah, that's the idea. It's to make us to blame so they can impose worldwide draconian measures to curtail our freedoms and take our stuff from us. And that's what it's all about. And it's very much like Orwell's 1984, the explanation toward the end to Mr. Was it Winston, what was his name? Anyway, the protagonist in the story, they're explaining to him how this works, so that if they want the Earth to be flat, if they want there to be, no gravity or how many planets or whatever it is, they just declare it to be so, and it's so because they declared it. That's their blueprint for all this, and science is no exception.
Oh, it makes me shudder. Who's scraping the plate?
Oh, that's me. I'm having tea. Sorry.
You should.
I'm multitasking. Don't ever let it be said that Sleeping Warrior can't multitask. He can eat his tea whilst having a conversation on the Big Bang.
Wait a second. You're eating tea with a fork and a knife?
Let's not get into this, right?
No, it's not that kind of tea, John.
I've got some comments from Betty.
Not
I
that kind of
hope.
tea.
No room for
Strong
some.
tea there, huh?
We've got to have some more comments. Hopefully, Betty. It's a bloody outrage, right? They've just made the whole thing up. They've called it science. It's an outrage. I don't know. We're all in very jovial moods, but this makes me shudder, if I'm honest.
Well, before John presented this once on Cataxis' channel back in the day, I never heard about this whole thing. And when he spoke about it then, I thought, how's this possible? Why did nobody ever say anything about it? I mean, why doesn't the whole sort of community not respond to this? That it can't be, and everybody just going along with it and adding on even more fallacious stuff on it. It's beyond me.
Yeah, it's because they only pick scientists that have a mortgage, a couple of kids. You never see anybody that's young, free, and single driving a Ferrari, do you? You need responsibilities to maintain throughout their life, otherwise you can't be a scientist.
Oh, you just said the key word. People listen to them because they're scientists, right? Are they actual scientists?
No, they're pseudoscience pretender clown muppets.
Thank you. I rest my case.
They've got step one only, right? So this came up on one of the debates the other day. Subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980, and basically someone was pointing out that I can't even remember the bloody example now. It doesn't matter. It'll come back to me. What were we talking about?
Anthony's eating tea.
The clonking noises. It's thrown me right off my game.
Listen, you've got to understand that English people drink tea, but we also eat tea at, like, I don't know what you guys call it. Is it dinner? See, dinner time is at 12 midday, right, for most people, but we also have tea at tea time. Tea time and dinner are interchangeable in where I live. It's like, I don't know, it's one of these weird idiosyncratic things that English people have.
And do you have lunch in the morning then?
But don't be silly.
What's this about?
I'm sure Nathan will agree. We call it evening meal. We call that tea as well as dinner, and dinner at dinner time is also called dinner. It's dead confusing. it's a dialect regional thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was me hoping.
So dinner time is tea time.
There's me having a brain fart about a very poignant point about the deception of heliocentrism, and what do I get as the lead to help me get back on track? I get the Americanisms
discussion about northern regional dialects.
Yeah, bloody hell.
You were talking about teachers. This being taught. I think that was a little bit the train of thought, maybe.
No, the scientists.
And the scientists, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're not feeling well, so you're excused.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone completely.
A little bit of brain fog.
Yeah, definitely.
Luckily, it's not a vacuum like in most other people's minds.
What a total conversation killer. My bad. This is all my fault.
No, you're good, man. You're a trooper for coming out here today, man. I thank you for doing that, because you shouldn't be out here. You should be in bed. So thank you.
Maybe that's a note to round out this particular live show. So I think on that note, I might do exactly that, which is to say, I'll say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the Ballbusters panel, which is Chocolate Sane, Sleeping Warrior, Paula, otherwise known as YouTuber Bible Literalist Betty Van Velsen, and of course Quantum Eraser for making this show possible. And of course a massive thank you to all of you in the Quantum Eraser live audience for tuning in, hopefully smashing the PayPal link in the info box, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing and all that good stuff. If you happen to be watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 stream, then stay tuned, as there will be a short after show to follow. Once again, a massive thank you to all of you in the live audience. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next Ballbusters. And we are done.
Nathan, just one minor thing. I don't think anybody was watching it on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream.
There wasn't one.
That's what you just rounded off by saying.
No. What I'm saying is that what we're now recording in the same format Ballbusters went out before, so there'd be typically I wouldn't do a full intro, but because it's obviously now going out live on Quantum Eraser channel, what I've done is I've still got the after show running, and that'll go out at the usual time that it would have done anyway. But I've just paid a bit more attention to the people have joined Discord after the fucking live show. Excuse my French. A whole bunch of people in there. Do you want to, whoever's...
I decided to join you, Nathan, and I think that if there are 2 or more people in there, then usually that attracts more people.
All right. I was in the chat going, if you're in the Discord server already, there's no live link, there's no public link, but if you want to join in and debate the subject. But I was thinking it while I was watching the live chat go through, right? Nobody's challenging it. Nobody's got a word to say on. It's like this every Ballbusters, isn't it? You know, who's got anything to say to challenge any of it? Can somebody who's running... I don't need to pretend like she's the mystical Betty, can you kick them all to after show so I don't have to unmute them?
Yeah, sure, I will do that.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon. They won't come on the live show. They'll just kick on over to the after show, man. They'll just pile in.
How do I
They
get rid
do
of
it
that?
every single day.
How do I get rid of the stupid tag that says new mentions? Any idea? Oh, I'm doing administrative things. I'm really sorry. Good show,
No,
John.
go
Good
ahead.
show. Well done. You had 154 people watching at peak.
Outstanding.
For your first live show, do you know how many people I had on my first live show? 4 years ago, it is September. 4 years in September. After doing flat Earth videos for about 6 months, I did the first live stream September 4 years ago. I just went and checked the date.
4 people.
I had about 4 people watching at peak.
You had 4?
Yeah, on my first live stream. Me and my wife sat down chatting about flat Earth and how it's relevant and how they've lied to us about space. It's nowhere near as, right, you go back to, over the last couple of days, right, we've been looking at some of John's videos, and one of them was a debate with Rumpus, right? I stuck it out on Nathan Oakley channel, and although there's going to be a slightly more extended version on the Quantum Racing channel, right? But that debate would stand up today as though it went out today. It would absolutely stand up. If you go back and listen to my first live stream, it's an absolute train wreck. It's everything that I would advise people don't do in a live stream. Checking sound levels, checking why it's feeding back, pissing around, loads of dead air, and then at the end, a 20-minute conversation about flat Earth. So by comparison, right? So I'm grinning from ear to ear because that was epic, right? That was a properly polished live show, and it's your first ever live stream. Just ace, man. Just ace. 154 people watching on your first live stream. That's just brilliant.
Yeah, but that's because of not only you, but everyone else on the panel and Ballbusters. That's not just because of me.
Of course, it's not just because of you. Nobody suggested that for a second. How arrogant are you?
Oh my God, he flipped it on me.
Yeah.
No, of course it's no, but I'm saying the rest of it's garnish. Is the material is your material at the end of the day. It's the information that counts. And for all those people that, yeah, they're right when they say it looks better if it's polished and it's nice and it's well produced and you've got the nice thumbnails and all that jazz. To a certain degree, I don't really agree. So I just think the information stands on its own. Same applies when people appeal to the what's the right word? The venom that can come along from you.
Format fallacy.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that it is an appeal to format fallacy, but the venom that comes along with it when you're like, no, you don't understand, you're a pretender clown muppet, and people will criticise that or the stronger versions thereof.
Yeah, there's some stronger versions out there. I don't know where they came from.
So, John, what are you going to do with your show then? I mean, what's the plan? Can you tell maybe people?
Yeah, it's going to be more. It's going to be more of education. It's not going to be. I'm not going to do what Nathan does because Nathan does that the best, and I'm not even going to try to replicate that. I'm just going to go with my strength and go with more education. I might flip it up every now and again with some guests on, but the majority will be pure education. Science education. We'll talk about logical fallacies. We'll be doing the same things we've done before, only a little bit more in depth, right? That's what I'm thinking of. However, things can change. That's my initial thoughts.
Are you still going to be toe tagging people on your show?
Toe tags.
I won't be on my show toe tagging them. I'll be on Nathan's show toe tagging them, and then taking that toe tag over to my channel.
I was going to say toe tags are something that kind of come out of other formats. I mean, you could technically trim a toe tag out of Jose's show if somebody toe tags someone else. Toe tag just means that they've been smashed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just did one today on your video the other day with Zanuck. I said, here's another one. I said, okay, let me add this to my list.
Yeah, but you're making little presentations like you did with Jam Panda and Toady, and I mean you can do those on your own channel in the future.
I could. Yes, I could. And just to let everyone know, I want a big buzz over the debate the Rumpus and I had in June of 2016. It's priceless. I was only out here for a couple weeks. I didn't know anyone, right? I was just fumbling and stumbling around, and this debate took place. It was a 7-hour video. Somebody downloaded it. And thank the Lord that they did. And it was Betty who downloaded it, because that channel doesn't exist anymore. But she downloaded that debate. And I'll tell you what, I listened to it last night. And Rumpus, can I ask you a question? How can you even show your face out here? I don't know how you have no shame. You got crushed. And so did the moderator, that paper explanator knucklehead. They put a baller as the moderator, but this is going to go out on my channel, and I want big publicity for this because it's going to be party time. I can't wait.
Okay, yeah, good. So you're going to be doing science stuff then? And for now, the Ballbusters too? Or are you going to make the Ballbusters more of science? Is that the idea?
The Ballbusters has always been about science education. Right now, we might have a little thing on logical fallacies and things like that, but for the most part, it's going to be on science. Yes.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
800.
And also, people going to be entering on Discord then?
We're going to incorporate Discord at some point too. I'm just taking baby steps because I've been overwhelmed. You know, it sounds easy to build a channel, and I'll tell you what, without Nathan's help, I would be nowhere near this position. I don't think I'd even signed up for a channel yet. I mean, so it is Nathan. A lot of work. So
Nathan,
hats off to you, Nathan. Thank you.
Kingmaker.
Oh no, I just know a fair bit about YouTube. Dawn.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to drop gents ladies as well, because I got an evening of movies to watch on my big massive telly with my super duper sound system and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Anthony, thanks for coming. And remember,
Yes.
Nice.
Stop.
Yeah. I'm glad I turned up for this one, because John's been moaning at me saying that my presence has been noticed, that it's not there. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I'm in a bit of a quagmire at the minute, John. Give me a minute, I'll be back. And I'm back. And I just happened to be back on the first one.
Just before you go,
it's been
Anthony,
an honour
though,
and a privilege.
Just before you
Good
do,
time.
just hold on. You still there?
Yeah.
You're far better at OBS than I. In other words, I've followed a tutorial, got it working, and have left everything exactly as is. Don't really know how it works. Whereas in times gone past, you've tried to talk me into using Streamlabs and various other things. So I would like to, while we're recording, and this is on record, I would like to nominate you to help Quantum Eraser learn how to use OBS. How does that sound?
All right, okay, it's easy. No problem.
Excellent. That sounds like
Thank you, Anthony.
That sounds like a firm
That concept
agreement.
is called shirking, commonly in the business world known as delegating legislation. Delegation. That's right, isn't it? Not delegating legislation. Delegation.
Delegation. That's
Yeah,
a
it's
very
fine.
good word. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, no worries, shirker. I'll sort that.
Thank you, sir.
No worries.
He called me
Right, I'm
bully
off.
earlier
Catch you
on the
later.
show. He's like, bully. I'm like, bloody hell, I'm helping you.
Later, Riley.
Ladies,
Take it easy,
chocolate.
Sleeping Warrior.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming.
See ya.
Bye. So yeah, about that Sleeping Warrior. What a wanker, eh?
I was just gonna say, what a proper wanker.
Oh,
That's got a name. I think it's called taxi cab syndrome or something. Like you've got 5 chicks. I use the word intentionally. 5 chicks in the back of a taxi, and they're all laughing about how wonderful the night's been on the way home in the taxi. And they get to the first address. The girl gets like, see you later, Susan. Bye bye. Kiss, 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 kiss. Door closes. Fucking hate Susan. That bitch. Yeah, and as they whittle down, obviously each time the door closes, the same thing happens.
Time to take off, chocolate.
Hey, QE, where'd you score that picture with Einstein and Lemaitre?
And
Yeah, good
what
picture.
was the occasion?
I can't read. It's from the Caltech archives.
It'd be interesting to see what meeting that was and who else attended.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and check that out. Yeah, I could do that, but I'm a little bit overwhelmed at the moment.
Well,
Hey,
post the
tenth
link.
man,
I'll
is
go
that
do
is that
Post the
you or
link and
somebody else that's
masturbate.
11th man in the chat today?
Oh,
The
no,
11th
that's-
man. That's
Yeah.
right. Is it you?
Yeah,
or
there was an 11th man in the chat.
Oh, I
That's funny.
have to show props
Or
to
it
Huey,
wasn't
man. He
you, but
called
we
me-
can think of it as you.
I mean, I thought chocolate was going to come in as vanilla. I mean, you let me down.
Oh, I should have. Right? I haven't gotten trolled that far yet. So I'm sure somebody will pop up with a sock with another saying. That's funny.
Yep. If you want to post that link at Pastor B, I'll go do the research on it and see who else was on it. Who else was at that meeting?
You want me to do that right now?
Just whenever. It's just I want to. There's two guys there, and then who's the third guy? I can't recall who you said, but then where were they, and who else was at this meeting, and what was the purpose? I mean, that would be interesting to do a little detective work.
The other guy was Joe Pesci's grandfather. You know, Mr. Ukes.
Yeah, that's what I thought
No,
you said.
it wasn't. It was Robert Millikan.
Oh, okay.
He's a Nobel Prize winner. He did a lot of experiments, man. He's the real deal.
Yeah, it's just very interesting picture.
John, I'll say congrats on your sub count, man. Because what do you had like 300 something when you started this, and now you got almost 900
888 right now.
in a few days.
888.
Wow.
Cool.
It's pretty good, man. Congrats, brother.
Yeah.
888. Thank you. 888. And the birthday of the channel was on 8/8. A lot of eights, man. What's that mean?
Eternity.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That means sleeping warriors eating tea.
That's letting us down easy, huh?
Not bad length. Hour and 20 minutes for your first live show. Not bad. That was a ball ache to get the, you wanted your guy in the dome as a backdrop that people can see right now on the after show and during the live show.
Oh, yeah. Did you do that or no?
Oh, are you not watching the live stream? Fair enough. Yeah, I had the guy in the dome, but to get it to work, so this is going to be a long story, just bear with me. So I've got a new projector, and it weighs considerably more than the old projector. Now, I'd upgraded the shelf to be bigger, and thought everything would be fine, but I put it on, and it shifted one of the brackets slightly. One of the raw plugs came loose. So I got no nails, stuck it behind it, started sticking little bits of paper under it to level it back up again, and I'm like, it'll be fine. But then I thought, I haven't actually paid for this projector yet. It's not actually mine yet. And it could fall off the wall. So I was like, oh, fucking hell. So I took the thing off the wall last night because I was worried it could fall down during my sleep. And took the shelf to pieces. And obviously this morning, dug out the raw plugs, skimmed it over with some plaster and was waiting for it to dry. But that meant that I couldn't have the second screen. So not only I've upgraded to have more screen real estate, right, so I can have an easier life running the show, but just to have the second screen, the computer's got to recognise that something's plugged in. So I'm like, what do I do? So to solve this problem, what I did was with the bracket that's still on, that was fine anyway, I've screwed a chopping board with screws to it so that I can bungee tie my old projector, I'm not kidding, to the bracket, and then plug it in with an extension cord, which was in my advert. I was gutted. I like to keep everything looking so sharp, and then in my advert saying, I'm live now on QE, there's a bloody hanging wall socket. I'm like, ah! Anyway, so that looks ugly in my advert, so that'll get deleted. Sorry, no ad for you this week. But it was on while we were live, and I'm not live. We're not live anymore, so it's not even making sense. But anyway, so plugged it in so I could have the HDMI cable plugged in so the computer would recognise that at least, because the bloody thing won't even turn on now, the old projector, it literally died the day the new one came, which is just brilliant. Anyway, without my luck obviously I'm in a position now, no second screen whatsoever, let alone more real estate. But to have it on OBS, so OBS thinks I've got a second screen. I've got to have it plugged in, hence it being bungee tied and plugged in, just so the computer thinks I've got a second screen, so I could actually get that working. And to do it, I've got to go up to my monitor, look at it on a preview screen, line it all up. But this was the most and this was a really stressful show to run. I am fishing for compliments and thanks, by the way.
That's unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable, man.
I mean, the extent you go for equilibrium just surprises me.
Yeah, the lengths I went to make it look pretty was bungee cording an old projector onto a wall and powering it up.
And feeling the way that you did, oh my God, man. Thanks a lot. Like I said, above and beyond the call, if you were here, I'd decorate you myself.
And it's one of the, I tried to explain this to you because it's like day 3 of your channel launch technically, right? So I know the ad came out a couple of days before. 1 minute ad doesn't count. You've got to have something there to be able to launch the channel, even though that makes no sense. But that's how it is. And your first show went out, and you got up to 700, 800 subscribers. But you've got to kind of the ball's rolling real fast, and you've got the intent and the material to make it carry on that way. So it was really critical that the live show went out as scheduled on time. I mean, I'm also pleased that I started 3 minutes early because it went out bang on time, and I'm just so chuffed with that. Things went really well for the live show, and that was going to happen hell or high water. I gave myself 2 hours to set up for it, and because I gave myself 2 hours, I had enough time to bungee cord a projector onto the wall and power it and get the HDMI cable in it and get it registered and get the computer to recognise it, change all the resolutions on a little preview screen, all that crap. But it's super critical that it happens. Even if I was throwing up into a bucket, I'd have done it, because if that show didn't go out, all of the hard work for 2 weeks running up to it would be for nothing. So, I mean, for all the people watching now on my channel, I'll say, I'll put a link in the info box and pin it in the comments. Go and subscribe immediately if you haven't done so already. It's been, it's been a really good experience launching a channel in such a way that it's got basically immediate success, as it should have. That channel's long overdue. If it didn't have immediate success, even with a crap launch, it would be surprising. But getting right up to the levels of the people who are around you almost immediately, people expect you to have over 1,000 subs, and within a few days you will, and that's exactly how it should be. But on the other hand, that's not to say that it doesn't take actually doing it, and not doing it tonight would have been disaster as far as I'm concerned. You've got to do your first published live show. I mean, it might be the case that this lurgy hangs around and we don't do a second Ballbusters next week, but that doesn't matter. By then you've got material coming out every Tuesday and Thursday. There will be other Ballbusters in the future. That goes without saying. So, it's just this particular one was critical, and it was a good length, over an hour. Material was good. The interaction wasn't, there with the bastards who are in Discord and came after the live show. But we can't have everything, there's got to be something.
Are you calling the people in Discord now the bastards?
It's not my server, is it? you can tell it's not my server. Big shout out to everyone in Betty's Discord server. Lovely to have you. I love you all. Very much appreciate your company.
I just got off work. Sorry.
Yeah. Too funny.
Well done, everybody. Great show, too, and the content was superb.
Yeah.
I think John needs to pepper some mistakes in there just to bait the ballers.
That is so funny. I used to do that back in the day. I called them Trojan horses because people wouldn't, on written forums, I knew they wouldn't read my posts. So that's what I started to do. I started to put in the heavy body, I would put little, peccadillos in there, calling them, they like to sleep with midgets and stuff, just in the sentence. So that's too funny that you would mention that, man. I'm not going to do that in a presentation now. Too funny though, man. Yeah, touche.
It's akin to a
I made a
boring.
video, Nathan.
Again,
I
Dawn.
made a video of us. I made a video of me and you talking about down
That's nice.
with,
An advert.
with a hip hop beat.
Did you put a link to my channel?
Oh no, I didn't. I can do that though.
Nice. Then it's like a genuine advert. So Ranty made what I thought was the best advert. I asked loads of people to mirror the advert to launch QE channel, and Ranty went way above and beyond, did a full-on live stream, made it, highlighted the discord between them at the moment. These two are always at each other's throats, but that's something that he highlighted in his ad. But then he forgot to put the bloody link, and without the link, it looks like it is actually a bloody dig. I'm like,
It's only got 40 views, and most of the people obviously already know your channel that have watched it.
oh yeah, sure, but that's not. It's the principle of it, At the moment, for instance, Jose.
Yeah, most of the content of the video is your rhetoric.
Okay. Thank you, Dawn.
What the reason I mentioned it is I'd like you to watch it, see if you find it funny. It's called "Absolutely Nothing Is Going Down with Nathan Oakley." It's on my channel, Dawn Hub.
Okay.
I remember that episode.
Can you remember the point of that though,
Post
Dawn?
that.
I
post
paused for a minute
that,
because I'm not
link.
on top form, but I've just racked my brains for the point of what you're discussing, and it's come back to me. So you understand about relativity in this regard, right? Things being relative.
Yeah, I know your point. I do get your point.
Okay, that sounded.
I just made a joke out of how we talk about it because it's always funny to me. That's all.
I'm hoping you've taken some bits out of context and made it sound like I don't think that's a down, without giving any context to.
That's the narrative I'm trying to say, yeah. But I didn't change or edit it. It's just our conversation for like 3 minutes.
Oh, fair enough. Well, that sounds like it's got plenty of context. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I love a good advert.
Was this the same day that he had the helium balloons going up?
Now.
Say that again, though.
I wonder what Nathan would sound getting triggered with his voice right now.
Oh, that reminds me. I'll be right back.
He's all tired. He can't get triggered now.
Don, come on, you can do it.
What's your channel, Don? Is it DAWNHUB?
Yeah, it was Dawn Shredder, but I changed it to Dawn Hub recently. So should
Why
I put
Dawn
Nathan
Hub?
Oakley 1980 in the description?
All right.
So what's going
What's your logo?
What's going to trigger me exactly?
Well, I was hoping for Don.
They want me to trigger you, but I said no, I don't want to.
They want to hear what you would sound like triggered with your voice sounding the way it does right now, Nathan.
I see. Go on then. Go. It'll be funny, Dawn.
I was going to ask you, because obviously I didn't watch Ballbusters. I'm not really into that. But if there was a concise point to this episode, you could tell me, then I could react to it. See what my reaction is.
Yeah, sure. The Big Bang is basically just a story that people who call themselves scientists, actually more like priests, just made up. They just made up the whole thing. That's the concise summary.
Okay. I mean, I agree it's a narrative, and it does push a non-god. So people worship the cosmic accident instead of a god. So I think I agree with that, 70%. I'm not sure I agree it's fully made up. I think it is a theory that some people believe in. But yeah, I agree mostly then.
Theory, right, is the net result.
Which part is it made up?
It's a weird narrative that I don't believe in. I don't believe in the Big Bang, really.
But theory, when you say the word theory, again, because I qualified it, I said more like priests as opposed to scientists. Yeah? They call themselves scientists, now you're using the word theory. Well, in scientific vernacular, theory is the result of people following the scientific method. In other words, after the systematic experimentation and then proving cause, then they develop theory when you've got multiples of that method being adhered to. That's a theory.
I do agree. It's theoretical physics, isn't it? So they get to the boundary and then they
no.
past
The completely opposite of that. You're doing well, Dawn. I can feel my blood pressure rising.
It's theoretical physics, though, isn't it? The Big Bang. It's theoretical physics. The Big Bang is based on.
No, what I'm saying is, a theory in scientific terms is anything but an idea or a story, which is the case with the Big Bang. A theory is actually something that you've made based on empirical things being proven with a method, and from those empirical proven things, you then form a theory. But the priests, they use that word too. I can feel my blood getting more and more boiled. Keep going.
Are you saying the Big Bang isn't a scientific theory? It's just like a made-up theory.
Yeah. You're calming me down. You're speaking my language.
I think I half agree.
Yeah, that's more like it. Half agree. No, it is made up, Dawn. It's absolutely true. There's no scientific validity to any of this stuff. They just made it up. And I'll prove it to you now with it in such an easy way that even you'll get. Sorry, that was a cheap blow. Right. So you can't tell me what happened, let's say for the sake of argument, here in this room 1 week ago, can you?
No.
Right, but they're telling you what happened eons ago.
I know.
In somewhere that they've never been.
I believe that I guess they've based it on viewing expansion and then extrapolating that it must have been closer at the beginning, and then they've theorized, right, it must be from an infinite point.
Is
there's
this a
no
Pornhub
scientific
reference?
basis for this. I agree.
Is this a Pornhub reference? Expansion, pointing. What are you talking about?
That's how they come up with the theory of the Big Bang theory, isn't it? They saw the universe expanding, or they thought they did. That's what they thought they observed, or they're pretending they observed that. Whatever you believe. And then they extrapolated. If it's expanding, it must have been closer at the beginning, and then they extrapolated more. It must have all come from one point.
Yeah, extrapolated. You've just replaced where I said made up a story with the word extrapolated.
Yeah, well, I'm being nice to them.
What, your priests? You believe this, right?
The theorists.
Nice to them. So it's not a scientific theory then, right? It's just a theory, just a story. It's nothing scientific about that.
Okay, so how do you guys think that all of this started?
Intelligence.
I have no idea. I wasn't there.
Yeah. I think it might have been closer at the beginning, but I think it was intelligence that decided to do it all.
It's in the DNA. It's a code. You can't have a code by accident.
So the part of the Big Bang I believe in is maybe stuff was closer together at the beginning, because I kind of have some faith that it might be expanding if that's what astronomers are saying.
You can't have a code with intelligence and say at the same time a Big Bang, an accident. Which one is it?
I know, it's contradictory.
Yeah, it is.
It's the worship of a non-god. It's the narrative of nothing. We come from nothing. We're just dust and an accident.
Which doesn't make sense.
It's wrong.
The problem is you're talking about what astronomers say, and it's meaningless because it doesn't matter what they say. That's the part where they make up a story, Dawn.
What the fuck's happened to your voice?
That was great.
That was a very soothing voice.
Yeah, you should do your link at the beginning of your show like that.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, so they make up a just so story, Dawn.
So have you heard of the Epstein thing? Do you want to talk about that, or shall we sound flat off?
Oh my god!
It was my kid's helium balloon, although the effects are now wearing off.
The helium.
Also, I've got a funny little thing for you.
Where'd you get helium from?
Where'd you get the helium pressure?
How high are you?
It's not going up anymore, by the way, Dawn. I seem to remember vaguely having an argument with you where I had to storm off away from the mic, grab a helium balloon and go, this is the only thing going anywhere. It's trying to go up.
That's what I based the video on. That's what I based it on. It was great. Me and Lottie loved it.
Well, it didn't continue to go up. Eventually, it decided to go down, and that's where I hacked the bottom off it and sucked it up for a
That's
cheap
my
gag.
point. That was my argument.
That was hilarious
Is it
too,
so
because you
hard?
hear
Is
Nathan
it so
get
hard
up
to look?
and go to the balloons, and he shakes them. He's like, "You hear that?" These are going up, Dawn. She was too
Was that
funny.
you that laughed in the background, I think? So I've been banned from 24/7 because I control people with one comment and piss them off, and then got banned from Flat Match. They said it's
Again?
like which is a flat
They
earth
banned
dating
you
server.
again?
They said it's like a Satanist trying to date a Christian. So they banned me from there. And I've been frequenting IPS's Blue Lodge, and Timmy is still a member, which I thought was a fun little fact. He's in the Blue Lodge.
And now you're back home.
That's got to be worthy of a sketch, though, right? You know, they meet on Tinder and they're walking along hand in hand. They go to the park, go on the swings, and they go out for a meal and start chatting. And what have you got any religious beliefs? Oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Yeah, I mean normal stuff. You know, went to school that was a Christian school. How about you? Yeah, I'm a Satanist. Oh really?
Christianity's not a religion.
God. I'm following my will.
Christianity's not a religion.
It's a cool analogy. I don't think it's that bad of Globe dating a flat earther.
My wife's
I mean,
pretty
you
much
would
a
get
globehead.
frustrated with each other, wouldn't you? A lot.
Not really. My wife's a globehead. She's just a normie.
Yeah, she don't care, does she?
Well, she's a normie, which is to say that, you know, unlike the people who you interact with, no offence, Dawn, on a general basis, on your side of the argument, who are fundamentalists, you know, they're expressing their religious belief with dogged determination in the face of any contrary views, opinions, or facts.
My girlfriend is the same, a normie. She don't care. She won't even say to me she knows it's a globe. She thinks I might say she's wrong. So she won't even like say her belief about it. Because I kind of drop little tiny red pills.
So Don, why do you care?
I love watching belief systems change, and obviously mine's changing through the whole thing. So I just like to interact with people that are doing the same thing.
So you're a flatty?
No, I believe I'm on a globe still, but I feel like I'm one of you more than a glober. I
What's
just don't subscribe to your cosmology.
What's your greatest proof that you would say allows you to believe you're on a globe?
Oh, I haven't got proof. I rely on other people's evidence.
No, I mean you personally. If you were to say, "This is why I believe I live on a spinning ball," what would follow?
Okay, two things. I see a hard horizon and hard sunsets and obstruction myself, and also I have faith in astronomers seeing a second set of rotating stars in the south.
Okay.
So these two things.
So the horizon, the southern stars, and what was the other?
So he's got an affirming the consequent.
horizon.
So the southern stars is an affirming the consequent form of logical fallacy, and the horizon and the sun are both apparent. In other words, not actual. So the horizon is the apparent position where the sky meets the ground. It doesn't meet the ground, Dawn. It's just an apparent position. Also, you could very easily describe it and even calculate it mathematically as the diffraction limit. So it's definitely.
I am relying on apparent observations.
Well, that means nothing, though, doesn't it? I mean,
well, it's
if
enough
I say,
for me to believe where I live,
if you're relying on apparent
doesn't mean
observations, what you're basically saying is, right, in your photograph, there's a tree in the near foreground and a mountain in the distance, and you go, the tree's bigger than the mountain. I'm just interested in apparent observations. Well, the mountain's definitely bigger than the tree, but apparently, according to your photo, it's not. but that doesn't mean a lot. And I'm saying that the first two proofs you gave, the horizon and the sun setting, what the not actual position of the sun moving. Oh, well, that's useful. What the not actual position where the sky meets the ground, that's useful.
Just the appearance of stuff blatantly going behind Earth. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it's
Reifying a
optics.
sphere edge into something that's just an apparent position. You're saying, I know it's something going over a sphere edge.
I'm
No, it's an
assuming stuff's
apparent
going
position.
behind it 'cause it looks like it's going behind it, yes.
Looks like, fundy. Fundamentalism. That's what you're now falling victim to, Dawn, in your only proofs
Don't you
of a
think
sphere.
that about flat Earth? It looks flat. So
No, it is flat. When you see something
Well,
like
there you
in
go,
those
that's you
pictures,
being a fundy, isn't
Dawn, yeah. So when you see Ranty's pictures,
They
he
were
keeps
both
doing them.
fundies.
He keeps going back to Barrow, right? And you just see the buildings. I've done this so many times with so many fundies. I just say building. I just say building, Dawn. There's a building.
Traveling around to photograph it. That's fundamentally.
You're not listening, Dawn. Try again. I'll start from the beginning and just listen to my explanation. You say it looks flat, Nate. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Now let me explain. When I see the clock tower in Barrow and Finesse, for example, my explanation isn't even required as a flat earther. There is no explanation needed. I say these words, clock tower, and I'm right, because there's the clock tower. Now, to hold a fundamentalist religious belief in the heliocentric model, which is to say you believe you live on a sphere, is to see that clock tower and say, no, we don't see the clock tower. The clock tower seems to be visible because it's a slightly looming, non-standard refraction, holographic projection of a clock tower that sits behind a reified edge of a sphere.
I've heard this argument.
I'm not done. Yeah, you're not. I'm not even at the end of your fundamentalist belief, and you're saying I've heard it before. Yeah, I just say clock tower. I haven't even finished your belief in this nonsense of a bloody hologram from behind a reified hard edge.
On a globe.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see clock towers on a globe.
This is what fundies do. I explain how your religion's nonsense, and you get triggered and talk over me. I'm just explaining your religion back to you, and you don't even like that.
You're obsessed with my religion because you're a fundy on yours.
No, clock tower. Am I wrong? No, it's a clock tower.
Exactly true.
Is it? Oh, so who's got the fundamentalist religious belief? I see a clock tower and say, hold on, Dawn, I've run out of helium. Don't get me triggered now.
Who's the real fundy here?
Why have I not got that?
Hey, Dawn, you can see over a flat surface a lot easier than you can see over a curve. Would you agree?
I don't quite know what you mean.
Well, let me express it a little different. Let's say as far as your eye and the day and the atmosphere allows you to see is, say, 10 miles. Over 10 miles, and say my eyes match your eyes, we see the same thing over 10 miles. But if it's a curve, and say the curve was within the 10 miles, the thing that we want to see at the end would be lower because it's on the downside of a curve. That's what best describe a ball, right? If we live on a ball or a sphere. Would you agree with that?
I think I know what you're getting at. Yeah, if it was a flat Earth and all the atmosphere was the same, we'd see further.
No, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is this. The globers have already told us the circumference of the Earth, almost 25,000 miles.
Right.
They've broken that down to 8 inches per mile squared. So if it's a globe, then objects like the clock tower at Inverness, a foot above the water, as I best recall, Ranty took his camera, should not be able to be seen, but it's seen. But if it's a curve,
added refraction for nuance.
Hang on. But if it's over a curve, then it's a ball and we shouldn't see it. But because we see it over 18 miles, and that means it's not over a curve. At least logically, you do see where we're coming from, right?
Yeah, geometrically, yes.
Okay,
we're looking through
brilliant.
nature.
Thank you, 10th man. Can I ask my question? Hold on, 10th man. Hold on, 10th man. You've brought him back on track, but I still want an answer to my question, right? So Dawn accused me of being the one with the religious belief. So I'm just going to phrase it. Hopefully Dawn won't interrupt. I want to get the full question out there. So who is the one with the religious belief? The one who sees a clock tower and says clock tower. And for clarity, That's me, a flat earther. I am a flat earther. I see a clock tower. No explanation is required beyond that statement. Or the one who says, no, you're not actually seeing the clock tower. The clock tower's not there. It's behind the horizon, and that horizon is actually the edge of a sphere which I have reified into existence. Therefore, it's actually a slightly looming, as you were about to discuss, Storm, non-standard refraction hyena hologrammatic projection of the clock tower from behind Earth curvature, presenting itself as though the Earth was flat for you to see. That's what you would state. So my question is, which is a religious belief? Me, flat earther, clock tower, end of explanation, or you, slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a clock tower from beyond Earth's curve. You can't really see, it's not really there, it's just presenting itself as though it looks perfectly flat. Who's the one with the religious belief, Dawn?
I still believe it's you.
What? The one who just says, so I'm wrong. So hold on, that's okay, you say me. So I just say clock tower. Am I wrong or being religious in that assertion that it's a picture of a clock tower?
No, not just in that assertion. That's not
right. So let's get it clear. When I say clock tower, flat earther, me, I can just say clock tower. And when you go, yeah, clock tower, because it's a picture of a clock tower. And end of explanation. No explanation is even required for me, the flat earther, not a fundy, not a religious believer, flat earther. I say clock tower, and I'm right. You say, no, it's not really visible because it's too far away on my sphere reification. Therefore, because I've got a sphere reification and I say the horizon's Earth curve edge, then it's a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a clock tower from beyond Earth's curve being presented as though it was flat. And you're telling me that I'm a fundy when I just say clock tower.
I already answered.
Don, your premise is you could see over a curve.
With refraction, yeah, it brings stuff over the curve.
Yeah, slightly looming, non-standard refraction, hyena, holographic projection of a lighthouse from beyond Earth's curvature. So it's not really there when you say refraction. It's a fucking hologram. Why haven't I got any more helium? Anyway, yeah, it's not really there, according to you, Dawn. So when I say clock tower, you go, ha ha ha, fundy.
Yeah, zetetic fundamentalism, when you just say, I see it and it's there.
It is bloody there. It's a picture of a clock tower, distinguishable with a clock face. You can pretty much see the hands with the P1000. Now he's upgraded his camera. So yeah, but that makes me a fundy. I look at something and it's blatantly obviously a clock tower and I go clock tower. But that makes me a fundy believer.
No, that not that on its own.
No, but saying it's a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a clock tower from beyond Earth's curvature because I've reified the arbitrary position where the sky appears to meet the ground into the leading edge of a curve when I assume R and project that building into view so it looks flat. Yeah, that's you with a fundy belief in Earth curve. Not me.
Okay,
I just see a clock tower.
We're both fundies, okay?
No, I just see a clock tower and say clock tower. And anybody looking at that photograph that didn't know the distance, anybody who didn't know your fundy belief in what it should be because of the distance would say clock tower. Because it is a clock tower in a picture. It's a clock tower. So I just say clock tower. That's not fundy. That's clock tower. Because it is a clock tower. But as soon as you say, how far was that picture taken? Oh, well, then it's not a clock tower anymore. Because I've got a fundy belief in a sphere. Therefore, that's not a clock tower. It's a slightly looming non-standard refraction, holographic projection of a clock tower from beyond what I reify into the leading edge of a curve. Because the horizon, not the arbitrary position where the sky appears to meet the ground. No, it's an Earth curve edge, not a diffraction limit where the limitations of your camera, eye, or any other lens used to view something reach the point where they can't resolve information anymore. No, it's Earth curve. Because I believe when I reify a model, the Earth curve is the only thing ever seen in a picture when something disappears. But in this instance, because we can see it, it's definitely a hologram. Yeah, fundy.
We know, Nathan. That's the 5th time you said it.
So when I say clock tower, I'm a fundy, am I? No, you're a fundy because you believe in holograms when I see clock towers. You believe in Earth curve when I see a horizon. You believe in slightly looming non-standard refraction high in holographic projections of Earth curve clock towers.
Preach
Why are
it
you
to
rumpusing?
yourself just so that the
Why are you
belief system
rumpusing me?
doesn't slip away.
Why are you rumpusing me?
Say it a sixth time.
Don,
Yeah, I
let's break
will.
the tie.
Fundy.
Let's break the tie.
Enforce
You're the one with the fundy
ideology.
belief. I see a
let
clock
me
tower.
break the tie of the fundy beliefs. Let me break the tie. The Advanced Sea Sparrow surface-to-surface line of sight missile system, Block 1 by Raytheon, 34 miles out, locks in with a 2-degree pencil beam on a ship on the ocean from another ship 34 miles away. That would have to go through 26 miles of water in order to do that if the Earth was a globe. I just took the human nature out of it. How do you tell me the instrument is looking over a curve through water?
Dude. I'm sorry, dude. I don't care about that.
Oh, well, then,
in
then,
any
then
way.
say
In
it.
any way.
Then you don't care.
No.
You don't
Yeah, he
care.
does.
You
It's
don't
really,
care.
liar.
really boring, and it's funny to me.
You do care, because when he asked you why you could see the clock tower, you said, "Oh, what about refraction?" So you do care. You're all keen. You want to assert the fundamentalist religious zealots' view about the world. You're telling us that refraction would make it seen, when I'm trying to explain 6 times that,
You can
refraction,
Google
what,
refraction,
hologram?
dude. It's a
Hologram.
known phenomenon.
Yeah, when I get to the point, he rumpuses me. Yeah, hologram, mate. When you say, "Oh, what about refraction?" you don't realise that you're saying what we see. I say clock tower. You say hologram. Fundy, religious zealot, not a fucking hologram. Good job, Dawn.
Nathan, have you seen the list of excuses for bottom up first obstruction?
Yeah, they all get called Earth curve. That's my point. Doesn't matter if there's something obstructing the bottom, and I use my words carefully, then you can be damn sure that it's going to be called Earth curve. Doesn't matter if it's the limitation of the camera, i.e. the diffraction limit. That doesn't matter. Why would it matter that the camera can't see forever? Because in my world we see forever, and if something disappears, it's Earth curve causing it. But yet you think you've got a strong argument when you point out there's a great big long list of things that can cause stuff to disappear from bottom up.
No,
and
this
you
isn't
call them
an
all
argument. I'm
and there
asking
it
if
goes
you've seen-
again
if
when I
you've
get
seen
to
the-
my conclusion. You call them all Earth curve. Every single one of them you might as well put the letter R next to, because they're all R, aren't they? Every last one of them's Earth curve.
No. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, bit of fog, Earth curve. Limitation of the camera, Earth curve. What's that you say? Can't see very far today, Earth curve. Yeah, it's always Earth curve, because every single perceivable reason that anything could disappear into the distance. Perspective, no, that's not real. Yeah, we'll put it in Muppet vision, we'll take away perspective, and when the effects kick in, we can be damn sure we'll call that Earth curve. Every time I say we're going to call that Earth curve, you interrupt me. Yeah, because you're calling everything Earth curve. It doesn't matter what the effect is. I advise my audience regularly to go and check out that list on Tim Osman's channel you're talking about. Yeah, check out all the things they call Earth curve, because they're fundies. Everything's fucking Earth curve in their world.
Wait, let's talk about the perspective idea. Does the sun disappear because of perspective?
Maybe if you direct it to somebody specifically. Who are you asking?
That's you, Nathan.
Oh, you're asking me? I don't know what the sun is.
Yeah, but you said that it might disappear bottom up because of perspective.
You know it's hot and bright though, don't you, Nathan? Like
Well, you're
everyone
now
does.
translating my clock tower example into the sun.
You know it's in the sky.
Dawn's going to talk all
and it's
over
hot
my
and it's
response to
bright.
you, even though there was a great big long pause for him to talk.
You
And he's
know-
deciding that
you know
now's the
it's
time to
circular.
talk, and 10th Man's going to help him out for some reason. Yeah, there was a great long pause for you to reply,
I'm
Dawn.
sorry.
I chose to pepper that dead air by talking, and then it turned out the question was for me, so shut up.
Yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead,
know
Nathan.
what the
Tell us
sun
about
is.
perspective. The sun
My
disappears.
example was specifically with something on the ground, i.e. a clock. So when it comes to the sun and its behaviour, I literally have no idea what it is.
You have no idea why it would disappear?
I could make a guess, but I don't know.
Could you do some kind of experiment?
Experiment, you say? What, establish the cause of the sun?
No. Cause of something disappearing.
Something disappearing.
Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say that someone sneaks up behind you and puts their hands in front of your eyes and you can't see. What scientific experiment, by your definition of the scientific method, could you use to determine the cause of you not being able to see?
Right. The scientific method's designed to elucidate the cause of an effect. That effect would be a natural
Apply
phenomenon.
it to this.
I hadn't finished talking. The effect would be a
Sure,
natural.
you're kind of off course.
I'll try a third time. Let's see how I get on. The effect, if you were adhering to the scientific method, would be a natural phenomena. Yeah. So in this
So you're
particular,
saying, by your definition of scientific
that was
method,
the third
you would never
time
be
you've
able to
interrupted
determine
me.
cause.
That's the third
of someone
time. It's the third
blocking
time
your-
you've interrupted me.
You paused.
Yeah. Sorry, I have to breathe. We do have gas pressure around me that I need to ingest via my lungs. Sorry.
Yeah, that's created by gravity, by the way.
Can you hold off your fundy assertions for a different
Of
argument?
course it is.
You trigger in the panel. So,
You get back to the clock tower.
right.
No, we're not done with cause and effect because you brought that up.
Yeah. I was trying to get there. You just keep interrupting me. So
Well, you take
if
too
you're
long to
trying to,
pause.
and there he goes again.
Like, you're-
Am I ever going to get to the end of my response before this fundy lets me? What's the deal, dude? You asking me a question so I don't get to answer in full, and every time I pause for breath, you're going to talk
I'm
over
sorry.
me.
You just take long pauses, and it seems like you're
Yeah, I'm
waiting for
ill.
a response.
I'm ill. What you want? So, if we're going to establish the cause of a man putting his hands over my eyes, do you think I'm going to be able to establish that? Is it a man-made effect? Or is it a natural phenomena?
I didn't say, I didn't ask you for the cause of that. I asked for the cause of you not being able to see when someone puts their hands in front of your eyes. By your definition, you can never determine the cause.
You asked me to put that through the scientific method, and I'm highlighting the fact that this isn't a scientific inquiry. It doesn't follow even the first step of the scientific method.
So how would you, by any means, determine the cause of not being able to see?
This isn't a scientific inquiry, which is how you phrased this.
Okay, sure. Well, then tell me how you would determine it, if not by the scientific method.
Oh, right. No worries. I'd turn around and go, why have you put your hands over my face? Is that a good enough answer?
That's not a scientific explanation.
Oh, right. So you do want to tie this to science, you stupid fucktard. Listen up for the second time. Do not interrupt me, you stupid moron. This is not a scientific inquiry, you stupid interrupting fucktard. Because it's not a natural phenomena. It fails to even reach the first step of the scientific method. Now, I appreciate that you being demonstrated to be a fucktard asking me to formulate scientific hypotheses for a non-natural phenomena might be embarrassing for you, but shut the fuck up and take the beating. You are stupid. It's a malformed question. You can't explore this question with science, you stupid dick. Do you get me now? Are we tracking, you stupid retard?
Is it my turn to talk yet?
No, it's your time to say yes. I appreciate that this question I have asked is malformed because it forms outside of scientific inquiry. In fact, it doesn't even adhere to the first step. I'm a fucking moron. That's what I want to hear you say. Concede your stupidity, fucking moron.
Okay, so the only way to find things out about the natural world is science.
No, I want to hear I'm a fucking moron. I've asked you to formulate scientific hypotheses by a non-natural phenomena that you could describe the cause of the effect by turning around. That's because you're stupid, my friend. Don't move on to a different subject, you stupid moron. Concede your stupidity, you stupid, humilityless moron. That's not even a word. Tell I'm ill.
Want me to do? Okay, I'm going to abide by your request. Nathan Oakley is a fucking moron.
No, you're a fucking moron because you've asked me to formulate scientific hypotheses for a cause and effect relationship that can be established by turning around. That makes you a complete moron. You don't understand what science is, or you wouldn't have made such a malformed question, you complete retard.
Your vocabulary is
excellent when I describe how you are a retard. Retarded, held back. That's what retard means, to hold back. Mentally, you are held back. Cognitively, you are retarded.
Do you have any other insults in your bag?
They're not insults, they're facts. You are mentally held back. Mentally held back, demonstratively so, because you asked a malformed question about science. You asked me to formulate scientific hypotheses. This is the third time I've said this. to you, who is either deaf or, as I'm demonstrating with this example, retarded, held back mentally, because you've asked me to formulate scientific hypotheses for a cause and effect relationship that can be established by turning around, you stupid retard.
It's no wonder you failed at acting, because you're doing it.
I didn't fail at acting, you stupid dick. What kind of idiot decides to divine my qualifications and whether or not I've passed or failed?
Yeah, this is a pretty shoddy act.
I make money from a YouTube channel that I learned how to produce in college. So I did production techniques, sound, lighting, all of the things I utilise to now make my living on YouTube. You're demonstrably wrong, and the very point that you're making is proven wrong by the audience who will listen to you saying it.
Make your living on YouTube by lying to people.
Yeah, I make a fucking living where he's just told me I failed, Dawn, you stupid fucktard, also.
By lying to people.
Yeah, I make a living doing what I trained to do. Specifically what I trained to do in college. You want to tell me again that I'm a failure? Yeah, I'm not a failure, but the guy who Dawn's now trying to bail out is a demonstrable moron. Because, again, for the 7th time, he just wants to dance past it by ad-homming me. I'm not ad-homming him. I'm pointing out how he's stupid, why he's stupid, and with an example that's just been dedicated to a tape that proves him wrong for the 2nd time in his assertion I'm a failure.
He's just a desperate glober that likes to try and pop in when he can, but he's quite wet and weak.
Like you.
Well, Don, you said you don't care.
Accounts.
Any more questions for me, fundy moron?
He's gone.
Good.
I'm not surprised.
Don, you said you don't care. I don't understand. Why do you keep coming?
Just about that point of the missile thing. I don't care about that.
I know, but if it proves the validity of the statement, why do you not care?
Because I think it's just a weird flat Earth mystery thing that you're into. I don't think it will prove anything.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Raytheon, who's sold this missile system for the last 15 years.
A
I
weapon.
don't care about those missiles.
A weapon that's actually used is a weird flat Earth belief thing. That you believe things are refracting over a curve, and that's not some weird globe belief thing.
Part
right?
of the belief
That's
system.
what you're saying.
Part of the belief system. A little bit.
So, Chocolate, are you saying that a technology that the Navy has been paying for 15 years that works and must work over a flat surface because of 770 feet of curve on a globe, it wouldn't? Are you saying that Dawn is not accepting that evidence and says that we have a belief problem?
Yeah. we have a belief problem. Yeah, that's what it is.
We all have beliefs.
Because the weapon is just a belief.
I'm making it equal.
Yeah, but I wouldn't own a gun if it wouldn't shoot straight for 10 feet. And you're telling me a missile system that shoots over 34 miles and must do it over a flat surface is not proof.
I'm not telling you that.
Yeah, you are.
I'm telling you I don't care about your missile question.
It's important.
It's irrelevant to me.
They're all irrelevant. Clock tower, irrelevant. Doesn't matter what example, irrelevant.
Yes, your metaphysical clock tower is irrelevant to me, yes.
Metaphysical? No, it's just a clock tower. The fact that you have to say it's metaphysical.
Isn't that your metaphysical clock tower?
Yeah, basically.
Aren't you the one saying it's refraction and we don't even, it's not really there?
So I don't know.
And that saying that it's there is actually a belief?
Nathan lies a lot, so it could just be a made-up clock
tower. No, it's calling you a liar. So basically, yeah, that's correct.
It's
absolutely
a made-up
spot on.
Clock tower. Wow.
Just made it up. He's just decided that metaphysical is my belief because he's projecting his belief onto me. I just say clock tower. You say metaphysical clock tower.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that's great.
Near cogs turning. Is
I
that
don't
Dawn?
get it, John.
Maybe Zanuck gets it.
Oh, Zanuck was brilliant. Just in the last week, it amazes me how suddenly your alliances change so quickly when there's an assertion that's just such stupidity coming from our own side of flat Earth. I'll just qualify just for Zanuck. So Zanuck's just talking about how a barometer works and how a thermometer works to David, Dallas, and Spurs Chemo, and they're just hand waving it left and right. And you're just like, oh my god. And I've got Spurs saying, oh, the ballers will love this because you're agreeing with Zanuck. I'm like, I don't care what his beliefs are about bloody Earth in this regard. He's right. It doesn't matter what his beliefs are because they're so used to the other side, like doing which fallacy would it be? It's like, where's QE? You around, John? No, he's not. Marvelous. when you take the whole.
Sorry, man, I've got wings.
Wings. It's about that time, right?
I got wingies, man. Sorry, I was going to help you, but
stuffing his face, man.
When they
I
take,
figured you could hang.
Emil, I'll lose the example real quick. So when they take the, it's already gone. I forgot what the hell I was talking about. I'm not well.
Zanuck and what he was saying about the barometer.
Oh yeah, when they take an example and they will say, oh well, if you cite Neil deGrasse Tyson, then you believe the Earth's a sphere because he says here that the Earth's a sphere, right? Well, the Spurs is so used to that happening that when I'm taking my allegiance with somebody just because they're in context, what they're saying there and then is absolutely correct, doesn't mean I take everything Zanuck says or his worldview or his bloody religious belief about a model he reifies. It doesn't matter. That single statement that Zanuck makes in that regard is all that I'm agreeing with. But like I say, Spurs is so used to the other side going, oh, well, you agree with everything from this whole reference then.
Yeah, that's non sequitur. Or like Jose did, he said, you have to hold it close to your heart.
Yeah.
It's freaking moronic.
Yeah, you have to take this whole book. What's that you say? You take one sentence out of the book. No. You must hold the whole book close to your heart and every word it says.
That's right. How about the murderer, right? He's written his autobiography. They put him in jail, and in his autobiography, he lays out all the things that how he conducted the murders, where, when, who, what, when, and how, right? The murder weapons, everything, timings, everything. But on 5 pages, he says, I'm innocent. So when you put him on the witness stand, the defense attorney objects because you need to comply with his whole reference, and looks at the judge, and the judge said sustained. That's how fucking stupid that is.
I'm still trying to get over the metaphysical tower. Clock?
I'm gonna go back to my Lost Civilization documentary. I love you guys, but you're liars.
Well, you're a ghost now because you're in metaphysics. You're a ghost.
What, before you go, Dawn, I've just got one more example, right?
He's already gone.
Dawn, just before you go.
I think he's already gone.
Oh, bollocks.
He's gone.
Oh, well. Suppose I can
we got
take
some
a
new
breath and calm
ballers.
down then. Go ahead, Righteous, sorry.
Oh, I said we got some new ballers. We got Emerald and Zanuck.
Oh, joy.
Get louder.
Someone's yelling. Someone's saying, I got a question, but we can barely hear.
It's Silent Zero. He's silent.
That's me.
You have a new name.
The Whisperer.
So I wanna.
The Globe Whisperer.
I wanna ask if you set up, let's say a tire, you set it on fire, and then the smoke is coming out. Can you measure? Is that smoke has pressure on itself?
What are you asking?
I think when somebody's given an equivocation, or an equivalent rather, when they've used smoke, which isn't gas, but it's a visualization that you can use to demonstrate some of the properties that gas has. And I think
you can say that the smoke coming upward has less density and therefore rises.
Can you measure pressure on that? Can you measure pressure on that?
I just said, the pressure in that gas would be less, so it rises.
Can you measure it?
Of course.
With what? How?
Something equivalent to a barometer.
All right. No further questions.
No, I think he's saying, can you measure the force of the smoke?
Okay.
I suppose you could.
I don't know how. How would you?
You could have things that are suspended in the before the flow of smoke, and then when the smoke started moving, you could measure the tension on something holding maybe helium balloons or something that are in the way of that rising smoke. It could tell you the force at which it produces.
Not bad on the
Acting on
fly,
the-
Sanic. Not bad. Yeah, I suppose you could. If you had sensitive enough equipment, why not? Anything's possible.
I'm still kind of curious what the question really is. Oh, is he one of the non-pressure believers?
I don't know.
Talk
What
about
was
the-
your point? I'll turn you up. Everyone else on Discord, be quiet.
No,
Or cough loudly as I turn the volume right up. That would be a better. Everyone be quiet while the quiet guy talks.
No, Spurs isn't here, so I'm
God.
safe.
I'll try again, Sanic. Right, I'm about to make the level much louder, but if you talk, everyone's deaf suddenly. So if everyone else can be quiet just while the quiet guy talks.
Well, I can switch mic to. Give me a second.
Oh, come on, just turn your microphone up or something.
That was even too quiet for me to salvage. I'm sorry.
Is that better?
Yes.
Much better.
Yep.
What'd you do? Turn on your mic?
Yeah. So the reason why I ask is because I don't think you can measure pressure on that smoke. Honestly, you're just saying it to say.
What do you mean by like on the smoke?
Yeah, like the smoke coming up and measure pressure. First of all, I don't believe that smoke has pressure in it. Right? It's simple thing to understand.
Well, it's the force it
for
exerts on something. That's what pressure is. It's
The reason
pressing-
why I'm asking is because for me, Nathan, like the oxygen comes out of it comes out of the ground, of the trees and everything, and that's why I don't believe that nobody can measure pressure on the air, on the oxygen, on the air.
Do you know how a barometer works?
Yeah, actually, I've been passing this video and asked people to.
No, I didn't ask what people thought. I asked if you understood how a barometer works.
Yeah, I told you already. I watched this video,
Yeah.
and on the barometer, you have to accept the gravity
No,
for
you
it to
don't
work.
accept anything.
I'll pass the video right now, and then you tell me.
No, just
if
tell me you
it's
said
wrong.
you watched the video, so and now therefore you understand.
I
how-
answer you, and now I'm gonna pass you the video where it says that you need gravity for it to work.
You didn't. I was going to say you didn't address his objection. I mean, I'm not going to comment, but what? How do you respond
What
to
is
his
his
objection,
objection?
Sanic? His objection is that the quantification for the scale in the barometer utilizes gravity. That's why he's rejecting it.
I mean, sure, if you want.
Yeah, but if I don't believe in gravity, why would I believe in something that needs
Well,
gravity?
if
to
you don't believe in
measure-
gravity, then the only real thing you don't have to accept is the quantification for it, like the exact number given. The mechanics of it are still the same. You have two levels of the liquid, right? You have the pool in the bottom, and then you have the column in the center. And the fact that they're not leveling out to equal the same height shows that there is some outward pressure pushing in.
Well, the water
Whether
is
that- whether
held.
that-
Where the water is just held by the vacuum created by the tube in the middle. It's really simple. If you make that tube, if you make
Right.
it wider,
But what that shows.
hold on, I was in the middle of something.
Sorry.
If you make that tube wider and the bottom like smaller, that water that is not gonna be able to hold the water the same way. So the vacuum that is created by the water is the one that is holding the whole water in the bottom. And what the science says is that the gravity is pushing on the water. That's why it's keeping it from going out of the barometer.
Actually, what I would argue is that regardless of the size of the column, it would resolve to the same height. Because generally, water pressure is just a function of height and not a function of the volume of water or how much there is. Width and length don't matter as much as height does in terms of what the water pressure would be. But I mean, at least at bare minimum, the barometer shows that there has to be a difference in pressure between the center where the vacuum is and the outside,
Silent.
right?
Silent. To that point, those big water towers. If you live in the Midwest, I don't know where you live, but they have huge water towers that are, hundreds of feet high, and they have a huge, it's a container with a little teeny pipe down the middle that feeds all the houses. That's how you agree. That's how you get your water pressure, right, for all the houses. But
Yeah, I was a plumber though.
So you understand that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so as Emerald said, you don't need to have a big, huge mass up top. You can have just a huge mass at the bottom and a little teeny pipe going all the way up 33 feet up in the top, and that pressure will be the same. Why don't they make water towers with the huge drums at the bottom? Be easy to build them, and then just a little pipe going to the top.
Because you will lose all the pressure on the water.
Why would you lose the pressure?
Because the water has to go from a bigger pipe to a smaller pipe to keep the pressure going.
No,
that's how plumbing on the house works. Sanic.
Hold on.
Sanic. I build houses from ground up.
My turn. Hold on. No, the pressure would be the same of the two systems.
No.
Okay,
I'll give you the answer. Any plumber.
You're being big-headed. I'm going to tell you the answer. Okay, I'll give you the answer.
I know. Sanic, I build houses as a plumber.
Stop it. False equivalence.
No false equivalence. I know it's not true.
No. So you're telling me that if I have a pool of water and I have a container of water and a pipe going 33 feet high and I fill it all the way to the top, what's the pressure of that entire system going to be?
I don't understand your question.
I have a big container of water with one pipe all sealed going up from that tank of water at the bottom. Let's say it's a 50-gallon drum. And I have it going a little teeny pipe going all the way up 33 feet, and I fill the whole thing up to the top. What is the pressure of that drum going to be?
Hold on. I thought we were talking about the example on the are you gonna let me explain why?
Just go along with me, so you don't have to make an argument.
You just switched the example. That's the problem, Sanic. You just put it upside down.
You said that you're a plumber. You understand. So you should say, and your answer was that it would go down because you have such a little bit of water above you. And Emerald just said that's not the case. I'm going to ask you why they don't build huge drums with little pipes going to the top. Do you know why?
Why they don't build what?
Why don't they build water towers that are just big pools of water at the bottom and have just little pipes going straight up?
Why would they build that like that?
Why wouldn't they be easier? Because you have to have this huge monster structure holding water 33 feet up in the air.
Well, no, the pressure that is coming out of the whole water in the container up is the one that is gonna send all the pressure on that little pipe that you're gonna put on the bottom. That's why you don't make it upside down. What are you talking about, Sanic?
Both the big container at the bottom and the big container at the top both produce the same.
They're not the same.
They are the same.
They don't produce the same.
Yes, they do. No, that's what we're saying. They do. So I want you to understand basic forces so we can have a conversation. You obviously don't understand that if you have a pipe going straight up connected to that big huge pool, the pressure of both systems will be the same regardless of how much water you have above yourself.
Really? If you put a hose on the pool, does the water goes up on the hose?
Well, I'm going to give you the answer. If you just want to shut up, I would be able to tell you the answer because you're not able to think through it because you're a plumber and you think you know everything. So listen. And I'm not dissing any plumber. I'm just saying you because you don't understand it. You say you do, you don't. So the big container up top has all that mass and all that water, and it goes down to a little pipe, and you have pressure at the ground level. Mm-hmm. Same pressure as you would if the big drum was at the bottom, and the little pipe going to the top filled to the top with water, 33 feet. The reason they don't build them that way is because as soon as you start letting water out, the little tube the level goes down, and the pressure would go down precipitously until it got down to the level of the big tank. That's why they don't make them that way. So it kind of proves the fact that you need to have that water kept at 33 feet to create that pressure at the bottom due to gravity or due to some force. I can call it whatever you want. Whatever force there is, it's acting on that water, and that's what gives you the pressure at the bottom.
They don't make it that way, Sandy, because the water will not go up on the pipe if you put it from the pull up.
Emerald, take over. Tap out. I'm tapping out.
All right.
Do you believe what Spurs said there's no such thing as pressure?
The pressure exists.
How a barometer works?
Yeah, I don't understand. That's your thing. Nobody understands for you.
You need to watch more. I guess you need to watch more YouTube videos.
I guess, Anik. Yeah.
Well,
you need to use your brain a little more, bro.
Anyway, one works on the expansion of the liquid, which would be mercury or water. That's called a thermometer. And one works on the pressures acting on the liquid that's open to the atmosphere, and that's called a barometer. And it only works as if you have a vacuum that is trying to work against on the top of the tube. And when
Well,
those pressures equalize, you have.
I didn't want to argue with you, Sandy, because I mean, we
'Cause
never
you don't
get
know.
nowhere.
That's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
You don't know. So just-
my example was for Nathan, for him to see this video, because you guys insert the gravity on this, and they accept the barometer as a way of measurement. And if they accept the barometer as a way of measurement,
how do you have? How do we?
Are you gonna let me finish or not?
How do I have air pressure at sea level? How do I right now? I'm sitting in my room. How do I have?
Just let him finish real quick.
I'm done.
How do I have 14 psi all the way around me right now? How do I have that? So just rage quit.
Okay, I got a question for Zero. If he doesn't believe in gravity, then why does it matter if they use something that doesn't exist?
Because I'm a flat earther, and you guys are a flat earther, and you guys are using something that needs the gravity to prove the pressure.
What?
That's why.
Okay, I just got done eating. Okay, hold on a second. Who am I speaking to?
There we go. Not with me, John. I don't want to argue with you.
Okay.
Okay, I mean,
I got a question for you, man.
Well, it was addressed at me. I just want to give the answer, if that's all good. So, in the same way,
sure.
you've got relative density, and they describe that with gravity. Does that mean that you would also deny relative density simply because their explanation includes gravity?
No, relative density. We don't use an apparatus that uses gravity to measure relative density, right, Nathan?
Yeah, there's plenty of them. What's that?
Really?
Yeah, what's that thing with the divers called?
You mean a scale?
No, those. It's like it's quite pretty. It looks like a 1960s lava lamp almost, and it's got all these different like glass bobs that go up and down. What's it called?
Thermometers. They make thermometers like that.
Oh God, I'm definitely on form.
It's a lava lamp. It's a lava lamp.
Nobody's bailing me out.
It's a lava lamp.
No, it's giving you pressure readings, and it's based on relative density. I just can't think of what it's called. Nevertheless,
I mean, Silent. Whether you have to, it doesn't require you to accept gravity. It just whether the mechanism behind the weight is because of gravity or otherwise. Naturally, a liquid that's got, you have a pool in the bottom and a column in the center. You'd expect the fluid under no external forces at all, right, to level out, right? So you'd expect the column to lower down to the same level as the pool. But in this case, it isn't. So something has to be pushing it, right?
It all depends on how thick is the column, isn't it?
No, it doesn't depend on the thickness of the column. It only depends. No, it doesn't.
Put a straw in your Coke.
I do want to bet.
Coca-Cola.
You want to bet?
Suck the cola out of the cup of Coca-Cola with the ice cubes in it and your straws in it. You probably have done this before. You suck up the liquid into your mouth, and when you let go, where does the liquid go? Go straight back down to level in the straw, right?
Yeah, that's a straw.
Okay.
Yeah,
now if you suck all up to the top and you put your finger over the end, right, now you have a barometer. Now you have a barometer. That's how you can make a barometer, with your finger holding over the end of a straw with the liquid coming up to the top.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As this is rounding out BALLBUSTERS, I'm going to say a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of today's BALLBUSTERS, which is, let me get it right, Chocolate Saying, Betty Van Velsen, Paula, otherwise known as Bible Literalist, and Quantum Eraser, together with Sleeping Warrior. So, thank you again to all of today's after show Discord panel for making this interactive part of the show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next BALLBUSTERS.